Super Regional Baseball from Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg. It's the Lynchburg Hornets taking on the Shenandoah Hornets. Lynchburg already with a one-game lead in this best 2 out of 3 series. It all gets decided today. Don't know if we'll need one game or two, but one of these teams is booking a ticket to Cedar Rapids, Iowa for the D3 College World Series. Kyle Haney hanging out with you on a Saturday. I guess it's still Saturday morning, Evan Gates, but Gates is in the house, and we are so happy to have you, Evan, and we have got a big crowd here as expected. I know we got a lot of folks watching, and why wouldn't they be? Two of the best in the country going to settle it here today. In Lynchburg hopes it's just one game. Shenandoah's got to win 2 in a row to advance. Still anybody's ball game, though. Super regional action from Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg. Evan, what you got?
Well, all season long, these two teams have been battling it out against each other. The ODAC, a conference that has been extremely talented. But interesting enough, this is the first time this season that these two teams have a chance for one of their seasons to be over. Obviously, we know by the end of the day, there's going to be a very good team out of this tournament. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the keys to the game, Evan's gateway to success. For Lynchburg, it's about walking on sunshine. They did very nice yesterday with 9 walks, finding a way to keep that on-base percentage high despite getting out hit 12-8, and then taking patient at-bats. That means getting walks, forcing good counts. We know Shenandoah's bullpen is going to be ready to go today. For Shenandoah, it's a team that likes to steal bags. They have a lot of speed, and having a very high steal number this season of 118. We know that they want to get runners on early and try to run them around the bases and not allowing runners to be stranded. They stranded 12 yesterday. This is a team that can hit, but they have to make sure that they make it happen with runners in scoring position.
Lynchburg wins the game 9-6 yesterday. Lynchburg moves to 42-7. Shenandoah 42-9. That tells you a lot of the story right there. But yeah, Shenandoah out-hit Lynchburg yesterday, 12 hits to 8. Those Lynchburg Hornets, though, so resourceful. They took 9 walks. They bunt the ball. They put pressure on the defense. Speaking of defense, Lynchburg's D actually committed 3 errors yesterday, Evan. So we'll obviously be keeping an eye on that. We'll be keeping an eye on our starting pitchers, of course. We think it's going to be Brandon Pond for Lynchburg facing Jacob Bell for Shenandoah. So we'll get to talk a lot more about those guys, but here's a few highlights from yesterday's ball game. It was a thrilling affair in the Hill City of Lynchburg. Zach Potts started for the Lynchburg Hornets, pitched effectively, got into the 7th inning, ends up with 6 2/3. Jack Batchmore coming on in relief to slam the door. The Jacks struck out 6 2 1/3 innings of work. There's a look at the pinch hit double from Sean Pokerock, a pinch hit bases clearing double. I mean, right into the spotlight, Evan. Sean Pokerock was ready, and you see the big response there as Avery Neves came home, the third of those runners, and here's the Jack slamming the door at the end. Wow, Jack Batchmore all season has been outstanding. He was ready for the moment here in Super Regional action. Looks like the Lynchburg defense is ready, huddling up there on the third base line as we are about to see the first pitch in just a moment.
Well, going back to that Pokerock double, what I think is so interesting is that's a substitution for a pinch hitter with a right-on-right matchup still, and that just shows Lucas Jones's faith in what he can do. We know that Riley O'Donovan was due up in that DH spot. All around for both of these teams, there are many options. That's why they're this far in the season, and it's going to be about using them effectively today. They've managed them well all tournament, but who's going to have more energy coming out of the gate?
Leadoff man for Shenandoah will be Frankie Ritter. We got a chance to catch up with the all-time ODAC hits leader before the tournament and hear what he had to say. How you doing, baseball fans? We're getting set for Super Regional action from Bank of the James Stadium here in Lynchburg between the Lynchburg Hornets and the Shenandoah Hornets. I got Frankie Ritter, who is the all-time ODAC hits leader, but he doesn't want to talk about that. We're not going to ask him about that because he's a team guy. Frankie, tell us what the vibe was like. You lose that first-round regional game to TCNJ. Got thumped pretty good. I mean, was it dark in the locker room, or did you guys never have any doubt that you were going to win 4 straight?
Well, we had a nice meeting after the game, and it knocked some sense into us, and we kind of needed it. It was kind of a reality check, especially after losing the ODAC championship and then going to regionals, still knowing that we are a very good team and top in the nation. But we had a nice meeting and knew that our backs were against the wall and just needed to keep throwing punches, and we just ran the table.
You did. I mean, 4 wins in basically 24 hours, a little over 24 hours, but who's counting? You've played in a lot of games. Where does that little run that you had last weekend rank up there? And you did it at home in front of the home crowd as well.
I think it's definitely up there. It probably top. Yeah, I've been in 2 of these, and I've made a run where we've lost the first game. So, I mean, it's probably my top because at home you have everybody there watching, and it's fun. And you have all of our teammates were there, even though all of them weren't in the dugout. I mean, it's just a great experience, especially if you lose the first one and just run the table on everybody else.
All right, well, come see this guy have another experience. It's Shenandoah and Lynchburg Super Regional action from Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg. See it in person or watch it with us online on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. So you got to hear from Frankie Ritter, the guy that you're seeing walk up to the plate right here. Big roar from the crowd, Evan. The crowd is into it as well. We talk so much about these great teams and coaches, some about the umpires, but how about the crowd here? They seem to be ready to go at 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Well, when you have teams this talented, you're going to have fan bases that like to travel, and for good reason. Starting with the man at the plate, 353 average on the season, and just that veteran presence that is sprinkled across both of these rosters.
Yeah, Frankie Ritter is about 353 for his career as well. He's going to spray one over the shortstop's head. Garcia on the run, tried to take the hit away, but it will drop in there for a bloop single, and Frankie Ritter has got another one to his all-time conference leading total. The leadoff man is aboard for Shenandoah. They did that quite a bit yesterday. Let's see how they can get him around. Colby Martin, the designated hitter, will bat second. He'll be followed up by Gavin Horning playing right, hitting third. Tyler Blittersdorf, the catcher, is hitting cleanup. Pierce Booker plays first and bats fifth. Ryan Clausen at third base, hitting sixth. Hayden Madigan, the left fielder, bats seventh. Kyle Lisa, the second baseman, hitting eighth and playing second base. And Cooper Anderson, the center fielder, will bat ninth. This is Colby Martin facing Brandon Pond. We'll set the defense here as Pond checks on Ritter. At first base, it is Eric Hyatt. Ben Jones will play second. Shortstop is Brandon Garcia. You saw him give chase on that looping, lazy line drive from Ritter. Third baseman is Gavin Collins. In the outfield, it's Avery Neves in left. Carson Atkins patrols center. Jackson Harding in right field for Lynchburg. Battery mate for Brandon Pond is Holden Fiedler. It's a 1-0 count here in the second at bat of the ball game. Ritter, I believe, swung at the second pitch. Martin doing the same. Bouncing ball to Collins. Only got one place to go, though low throw dug out by Eric Hyatt. So there's the first out of the inning for Lynchburg. Ritter advances to second.
What I like about this early part of the Shenandoah lineup, yesterday Ritter, Martin, and Horning each earned 2 hits along with Ryan Clausen later, and it just shows that they understand the moment. Maybe it's not trying to do too much, as we have Gavin Horning who steps in. He has some power, but it's just about setting the table for guys to come in behind you and make contributions.
Brandon Pond set and ready to go. He'll spin and not throw to second base on Frankie Ritter. Brandon Pond on the season, 4-1, 2.85 earned run average. He struck out 44 and walked 18. Another guy, batters hitting right around 220 against Pondo, former ODAC Pitcher of the Year a couple years ago, 2021. He was injured most of last season, but he is back, throwing the ball great. That's just his 5th pitch of the ball game, Evan. Shenandoah has been swinging early. Both guys previously swung at the second pitch of the at-bat. Let's see if Gavin Horning elects to do the same.
You wonder if that's in the scouting report from Kevin Anderson, just trying to find the pitch early. We know that Pond likes to bring energy as well, so trying to hype up this Lynchburg defense behind him.
He will swing at the second pitch, foul ball, so it'll finally be an at-bat that goes more than 2 pitches. You mentioned the energy with Pond. He pitches with passion. He wears the emotions on his sleeve. He's not afraid to fist pump when he's coming off the mound and get the teammates into it, get himself into it. I think he needs that energy, and you think he'll be a guy that'll be ready for the big moments. Super Regional play, game 2. Horning will swing and miss at that one. It is now game 6, actually, that these two teams have played. Game 6. Lynchburg has won 4 out of 5. They've won the last 3 in a row. That dates back to the ODAC tournament matchups that these two ball clubs had. And for Shenandoah, they've actually still won 4 out of their last 5, but it's 3 losses now in the last 9 games. That goes back to the games against Lynchburg in Richmond at the ODAC Championship weekend, and they lost to TCNJ in the first round of their regional. But we know what they did there, Evan. They came storming back and won 4 straight, 2 games on each day to get back into it, to get into this tournament. So Shenandoah, in elimination games this season, season-ending type games, has already got 4 wins. I mean, they've won 4 straight with their back to the wall. Now their back is there again. We'll see how they hold up at Bank of the James Stadium.
Well, good teams enjoy the pressure in the moment, and dropping the first against Lynchburg in the ODAC tournament, dropping the first in their regional, they just find ways to come back. And again, it's not trying to do too much in one game, but just finding the guys to make sure that they move on.
2-2 pitch, Ritter running. Horning swings on it. Ritter might have to go back. He'll get there in time as this ball will hang up in the central Virginia sky and get pulled in by Avery Neve. So it's the second out of the inning. And let's mention that air in that sky. The wind is blowing in. You can see that big flag in center field, the big American flag, blowing in pretty heavily, Evan, and that's a big flag. You know, sometimes the ball will carry out of this ballpark, and that's not just with the pros. That's with high school and college teams that'll play games here from time to time. But I think with that wind, it's going to be tough to get one out of this park today.
It seems like every game at this stadium, the flag has been flying everywhere but out.
Yeah. A little soft toss to second there as Pond flips it to Brandon Garcia to keep an eye on Frankie Ritter. The hitter is Tyler Blittersdorf. Catcher for Shenandoah was 1 for 4 yesterday, did drive in 1. He walked once and struck out once. Brandon Pond ready to work here. Right-hander has been outstanding this season. It was a sort of a slow return from injury for Brandon Pond. He was on the pitch count. He was on the innings limit, all those things that you hear about when pitchers are coming back from injuries. But he seems to have gotten better and better as the season has gone on and really has become a big part of Lynchburg's success. Again, much like he was used to a few years ago. There's one that misses inside. The count goes to 2 balls and no strikes on Tyler Blittersdorf.
It's difficult to quantify a rehab assignment, if you will, or just seeing how many innings he's been able to come back. He was pitching just 2 at the start of the season. And so just the process and trusting his stuff. He always talks about the fact that whether an outing is good or bad in his eyes, it's just about finding his stuff and knowing that it's good and will compete against anyone. And that goes a long ways, especially against teams like Shenandoah.
You just look at that K to walk ratio. The strikeout number is 44 coming into this game. He's only walked 18, so that tells you he does trust that stuff. He's pitching in the zone. Better than 2-to-1 on that K to walk ratio. Blittersdorf will spray that one foul, and the count is even at 2-2. We're in the top of the first inning. It's Super Regional game number 2, and it's a best 2 out of 3. Crowd already coming alive for Brandon Pond and the Lynchburg defense. Let's see if he goes maybe with that back foot slider, try to get it under Blittersdorf's hands a little bit. It's like Holden Fiedler wants it low. Now he will slide in. I think they got the pitch location-wise pretty perfect, Evan, but Blittersdorf with a nice fight there to stay alive.
These are the situations they have to capitalize, and while it's early, there is a runner in scoring position, and maybe you look back later in the game, and these are the at-bats that you want to have back.
Blittersdorf sprayed a double down the left field line. It was one of 4 doubles that Shenandoah hit yesterday. They were banging it around, but Lynchburg did keep them in the ballpark. High heater, Blittersdorf cannot get on top of it. And there's the first half inning in the books. So Shenandoah strands 1 in scoring position. Leadoff single for Frankie Ritter, but he's left out there. And Lynchburg will come to hit in the bottom of the first inning. Super Regional action from Bank of the James Stadium in the Hill City. You're watching it on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Look what you're missing.
What a view right there. Through the outfield fence there, Evan. You know, back in the day, that's where people you'd go watch the game from there, and you'd get to watch the game for free. And how about that shot from our LHSN team up at the big American flag? Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Don't know how you're celebrating, but I think watching some baseball is probably the perfect way to honor the Stars and Stripes. And, of course, on Memorial Day, we think about those veterans and their families that have made the ultimate sacrifice. It's just so nice to be out here, so nice to be hanging out with you, and nice to be watching this young man. It's Jacob Bell, who has had an outstanding season for Shenandoah on the mound. Just one loss this season, Evan, but that did come in his last appearance. That was that first-round regional game against TCNJ. Jacob Bell got a little roughed up, just went 3 innings, gave up 9 hits, 7 earned runs, so it's a bounce-back opportunity for Jacob Bell. He is a quality arm. He is one that I know Lynchburg has discussed a lot. They have seen him once this year in a relief appearance. No, excuse me. They have not seen Jacob Bell this year. You have to go back to last season, the last time Lynchburg got a look at Jacob Bell. That was back on April 23rd of last year. So first look at number 49, Jacob Bell, and Brandon Garcia, the leadoff man, will get the first crack at him for Lynchburg.
Had the chance to chat with Garcia this week, someone who has been extremely important to Lynchburg's success throughout the season. And obviously, just he mentioned the vibes have been high. You're winning ball games, you're going forward, but also just allowing the veterans, the older guys on this team, to keep it going. Their excitement has just been going throughout the clubhouse, and this is something for both teams that is a privilege to be here. This is not a chance that you get every day. And so for guys who lead off, as he almost got that one out, Ritter made a nice jump to get him out, but it's plays like that that are going to come up big.
Yeah, remember that one. File that one away. Frankie Ritter climbing the ladder to take a line drive from Brandon Garcia out of the sky. Here's another good shot at it, and yeah, they're Frankie Ritter. Maybe not the NBA level hops, but Frankie Ritter got up enough there to take a hit away. That's huge. And you keep the leadoff man off of the bases. Ben Jones, high school teammate of Brandon Garcia, back-to-back lefties. Lynchburg can send up a lefty-heavy lineup. Next 2 hitters, actually next 4 hitters in a row will be right-handers for Lynchburg. And speaking of those guys, Ben Jones hitting now. It'll be Avery Neves, the All-American, batting 3rd. Sean Pokerock hitting cleanup today. We'll be discussing him and what he did yesterday again. Eric Hyatt is the 5th hitter. Gavin Collins 6th. Jackson Harding 7th. Fiedler 8th. And Carson Atkins in the 9-hole. Bobbled a bit by the second baseman, and Ben Jones will be safe. I feel like it's going to be a base hit ruling by our official scorekeeper, but we'll wait and see. That was the second baseman, Kyle Lisa, that just had it hit the leather and bounce away from him a little bit. As an infielder, Evan, if you can keep that ball right underneath you, even if you don't field it clean, it's a pretty easy pick up and throw. But you'll see here on the replay, this ball kind of got a full 3 or 4 feet away from Lisa, and tough throw in the end.
We've seen it in a lot of ODAC ballparks this season, but the ball will act in very interesting ways, take some neat hops, and Ben Jones just a nice hustle down the line. Lisa, one of those guys this season for Shenandoah who has both hit and pitched, and you've seen that more often throughout college baseball. It's something that if players can work both sides of the game, not only does it help your team, but it also helps from a mental standpoint, just understanding what's going on.
And Ben Jones hit it hard. He deserves some credit in that equation. Not quite the hitting it through somebody that hitting coaches will talk about, but Ben Jones definitely got good metal on it. Part of the reason why it popped out, Jones got wrong-footed there and nearly picked off. He was leaning to second. Good move from Jacob Bell. That's a trait of all these Shenandoah pitchers. They hold runners well. That's a big part of their pitching plan, is controlling the running game, and then even outside of that, picking guys off. Bell is throwing over there a bunch. See that subtle little head movement from Bell right before he picks. That's something to watch for, and something that, I think it fools that runner just enough. You think the action is going towards the plate, and instead Bell is coming at you. 1-0 count to Avery Neves. That ball just missed. 2 balls and no strikes for the All-American number 30, Avery Neves, the 2-time All-American.
And Kyle, I wonder how often the batters and pitchers communicate, because we know the batters like to steal bases for Shenandoah, over 100 on the season, as Neves will pop up to left and what should be out number 2. But you see a team that steals a lot of bases, and it's something that's so important because maybe that helps the pitchers know what to look for. You see in practice trying to get good jumps, timing it right, and maybe that helps this pitching staff just be more aware.
I think there's some shared information for sure, and then additionally when you're doing your inter-squad scrimmages and those kinds of things playing against each other, you're obviously going to have to face those good pick-off moves, and your pitchers are going to have to get used to holding runners that are pretty quick, like these Shenandoah Hornet offensive players who can really steal bags. You mentioned that already as one of your keys. Shenandoah likes to run. They pretty much through the lineup will run with everybody. Exception might be the catcher, Tyler Blittersdorf. But, you know, just looking at the stats, I think Blittersdorf even has a few stolen bases this season, if I'm not mistaken. And I am mistaken. He doesn't have any. Foul ball from Sean Pokerock. It will be strike one, 0-1 count with 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. Still no score. This is the double from yesterday. Sean Pokerock, a pinch hit double with the bases loaded. Riley O'Donovan started as the DH yesterday, Evan. He was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. I think that was part of the calculus for Coach Lucas Jones and making a change. Maybe just want to shake it up. Sometimes you're just playing a hunch. Hey, I think Pokerock can hit this guy. And he certainly did hit the pitcher well. That was Jacob Favor. No, that was the new arm that came in. That actually Sean Pokerock hit the double in the gap off of. That was Jackson Sherman. Sherman pitched great outside of that. He walked Avery Neves in his first batter, and then Sean Pokerock came in. So it was an exciting time to send a pinch hitter up there, Evan, and talk about delivering in the clutch. Sean Pokerock, I know it was just the 4th inning, but it was the clutch at that point.
Really started the momentum for Lynchburg as well. Not an easy spot for Sherman on the mound either to come in and try to shut things down.
Yeah, we were all very impressed with Jackson Sherman yesterday. Yeah, really, he could have been easily rattled after giving up a bases-clearing double as well, but Jackson Sherman stayed out there and finished the game. Full props to him. He did a really wonderful job. This is a 3-1 count on Sean Pokerock. We know he can do damage. He will hack at that. It'll be a full count coming up next with 2 outs. Ben Jones will be on the move. Just referencing yesterday again a bit more, it was a 2 spot for Lynchburg in the 2nd inning. They had the 2-0 lead. Shenandoah scored 1 in the 3rd, so it was a 2-1 ball game. And then Lynchburg busted out with 7 in the 4th inning. Game wasn't over then, but it really did major damage and took a lot of wind out of Shenandoah's sails. The Shenandoah Hornets did have a nice fight back. They made it a 3-run ball game and actually had the tying run in the batter's box there in the end, but Jack Batchmore slamming the door for another save. It is a walk to Sean Pokerock, and Eric Hyatt, the first baseman, will hit with runners on 1st and 2nd.
Batchmore and Potts really reversed their roles from the last time they played. We know Batchmore started that game to move on to the Super Regional, and then Potts was the one with the save. Pretty unconventional if you've watched Lynchburg baseball this year.
Yeah, that was fun. So just, yeah, in the span of less than a week, they've done a little bit of everything. Zach Potts gets his 11th win of the season yesterday. Jack Batchmore saved number 12 yesterday. Here's a 2-0 count on Eric Hyatt. This happened to Jacob Favor yesterday, Evan. He fell behind some Lynchburg hitters, and they made him pay the price. In addition to some walks, Lynchburg did get some timely hits. They got out-hit, but they had some big knocks when they needed it. That is a strike on Eric Hyatt. So good job to bounce back for Jacob Bell, who walked Sean Pokerock and fell behind Eric Hyatt, but now it's a 2-1 count. Bell set and ready to go. Nice deep breath. Checks the runner at 2nd. That's Ben Jones. Hyatt will swing on that. Tough play. Frankie Ritter coming on. He'll scoop, throw, and record the out at first base. So Lynchburg will strand a couple runners in their half of the 1st inning. Still deadlocked. Donuts for each side through 1 complete here at Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg. We're here at Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg, site of Super Regional play between the Hornets of Lynchburg and the Hornets of Shenandoah. I'm talking with Brandon Pond. Pondo, you're coming back from an injury that kept you out most of last year. I know you're probably not quite where you want to be, but how does everything feel, and are you getting the results out there that you would like?
I mean, I feel good. The coaches have done a great job taking care of me and building me up pitch count-wise. Just staying on top of the rehab stuff's been key, but obviously I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in a good enough spot to put my team in the best place to win.
One thing I love about you is you're a super nice guy off the field, but on the mound you've got a little bit of an edge. You get a little nasty out there from time to time. Does that just come natural, or are you trying to project a certain image out there?
I don't think it's an image. I think it's just my way of competing, and I'm nice off the field, and I think in between the lines it's a different type of play. So.
All right, in between the lines this weekend in Shenandoah, you've been playing for a while. They've got a bunch of dudes in the lineup that have been around for a while. What's that like? You got a book, you got a scouting report, but they've got one on you as well.
I think it's just a matter of execution. I mean, they've seen me a bunch, but I think my stuff is good enough, and Potts' stuff's good enough, and Wes' stuff, and our whole bullpen. So just a matter of who executes more, and that's what's going to come out on top, I think.
Good stuff. Brandon Pond, he's getting ready for a Super Regional matchup with Lynchburg and Shenandoah right here, Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg this weekend. From an interview with Brandon Pond on Thursday to seeing him on the mound pitching, the leadoff hitter is Pierce Booker. Brandon Pond misses with the pitch there, but got a real nice insight into Brandon Pond's personality, and of course Frankie Ritter before that. When we talked to Frankie Ritter, Evan, it's so cool learning more about these guys because the stats are great. I love the stats. I think most baseball fans to some degree love the numbers because there's always a number or a stat, but it's nice when you get to learn more about the players and see what they're all about, get beneath the surface just a little bit. And Brandon Pond, he's got many layers as well. He's so much fun to talk to.
Sometimes you learn more about a team just from hearing personalities, and that extends to the coaching staff. That's why these two coaches, and Kevin Anderson and Lucas Jones, have done such a phenomenal job with their programs. Booker turns on one that's going to be foul. And it extends throughout the lineup. That's why guys love to come here to Lynchburg and to Shenandoah and play baseball for these programs.
Coach Lucas Jones in his 6th season at Lynchburg. Booker will spray one down the other line. This might stay fair. A long run for Jackson Harding, the right fielder. It is a foul ball. Lucas Jones in his 6th season at Lynchburg. It's over 155 wins now at his alma mater. He's got 3 ODAC Coach of the Year awards. One of those did come when he was at Washington and Lee. Lucas Jones on the left there. Left side of the dugout, that's assistant coach Oscar Garcia making some defensive changes there with the signal, and his brother Gabe behind him. Strikeout swinging. Brandon Pond's got his second punch out, back-to-back, dating back to Blittersdorf last inning, so there's one away here in the top of the second.
How many pitchers can fall back 3-0 and then come back with a strikeout? Pond just had some smart decisions there, knowing where to put the ball in the zone, and all game long that's going to be a battle between Pond and Bell, just making sure they can keep momentum while they're on the mound.
The claw machine, Ryan Clausen hitting now with 1 out. He's another guy that we got to talk to. Those full interviews are on the tournament website. You can find the links on Shenandoah's website and Lynchburg's website. Some of them are floating around on social media as well. If you're doing those things, plug in and learn more about these great players. 1-1 count as Brandon Pond misses with the fastball. But I want to touch on what you just said there as Clausen will line one up the middle. Oh, Ben Jones nearly got to it, but could not snare it as he was sort of doing the feet first slide up the middle, trying to backhand that ball. Off the bat, it had a lot of that inside spin. It was tailing back to Ben Jones, and really it ended up being in the catching zone for him. It was not an easy play by any means, and it's a base hit. Second one of the game for Shenandoah. But he actually, had a chance at it, almost overshot it because of the way that ball was spinning so heavily off the bat. Hayden Madigan, the left fielder, steps in with a runner on first base, second base runner in the game. Here's a line drive over Ben Jones' head. No chance on this one. Clausen thinking about first to third, but Jackson Harding gets to it quickly and fires it in to the relay man. So it's back-to-back base hits for Shenandoah. Some momentum perhaps for the guys from Winchester. 3 hits total for the boys in blue there. Shenandoah wore the red tops yesterday. They're in blue today. Lynchburg is wearing their red jerseys today. It's a great color scheme for both these schools. But right now, Brandon Pond is worried about anything but that. As a pitcher for Lynchburg, he's trying to get out of this inning now. There is 1 out in the top of the second.
we've seen him pitch with pressure in the last few outings, and that's really any pitcher at this time of year. We know that there's some very heavy competition. And something I'd like to touch on as well goes to the batter standpoint, because almost everyone's average at this point of the season is going to drop a few ticks, which is expected. But again, it's about finding ways to get on base, and Shenandoah with a very valuable opportunity.
Ball skips into Holden Fiedler. Good stop by the Lynchburg battery man there. Holden Fiedler was excellent defensively yesterday. And it's hard work for these catchers. You might have to catch 27 full innings in basically 24 hours. But Fiedler's the kind of guy that can do it. 2-0 count for Kyle Lisa, the second baseman for Shenandoah. Hitting with runners on first and second. Pond taking some time. You got to be careful with those action clock violations. That's the term the NCAA prefers, Evan, the action clock rather than the pitch clock. But it's still there. We don't have the board on, but it can be called. We actually saw it called quite a bit at the ODAC Championship weekend. 3-0 count for Kyle Lisa. See if he's got a green light. Maybe not. Inside fastball is a strike. So maybe Pond doing his thing where he falls behind and bounces right back.
Something about the Shenandoah lineup, it seems like you could bat it in reverse order, and they would still have an appropriate format. As Collins is running over, he's going to make the catch for out number 2.
Nice catch there by Gavin Collins, going back diagonally over his shoulder towards the tarp in foul territory down the left field line. Great call about the batting order for Shenandoah. There's no soft spots. There's guys all through that lineup that really swing it. There's guys that can pull off the bench that swing it. So you're right, batting order might be insignificant for a team like Shenandoah. Billy Martin, the great baseball manager, said batting order really doesn't matter, and he famously chose his batting order by pulling the names out of a hat one time, Evan.
How about that?
That's a good baseball story, yeah. And I think they won the game. 1-0 count on Cooper Anderson. He's the 9th hitter in this order for Shenandoah. He is Coach Kevin Anderson's son. He'll swing on that one and foul it back. 1-1 count. Brandon Pond seems to be stabilizing like he so often does. Another guy, a little bit like Zach Potts yesterday for Lynchburg, seems to almost pitch better from the stretch with runners on base somehow. 1-1 pitch coming up to Cooper Anderson.
Anderson, one of those guys who is a little bit of a high strikeout, but he still finds ways as Collins will tag the bag. For out number 3 here from Bank of the James Stadium, Lynchburg will be up to bat in the bottom of the second.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Here's a look at the Brandon Pond strikeouts. Yeah, it was 2 big ones there from Brandon Pond. They were actually back-to-back, one to end the first inning, one to start the second inning. And then it was Gavin Collins that made a couple plays to end the top of the second. And here's that man right there, Gavin Collins, 1 hit yesterday. So smooth over there at third base. I mean, he's like lotion over there at third base, Evan, with Gavin Collins and his smoothness. I just love watching him glove it in a really tough spot, the hot corner. Gavin Collins makes it work for Lynchburg, and he's a pretty good hitter as well. Facing Jacob Bell, 0-2 count pretty quickly. It's Jacob Bell getting ahead on Gavin Collins.
Well, he leads the team in at-bats, too, 186 in the 2023 campaign. So being a staple in what Lynchburg has had this season, you know there are a lot of different lineups. Shenandoah, a team that has a bit more consistency, the same guys every day, whereas Lynchburg has switched things up a bit. But Collins understands the game, and he has a very big presence at third base.
Good eyeball on that pitch. That was just off the plate there. It is a 2-2 count. Gavin Collins doesn't walk a whole lot. That's part of the reason for the elevated at-bats, but you're right, he's a fixture in the lineup. He'll foul one back in our direction. Gavin Collins, there's only one game this season that he did not play in. He and Avery Neves and Carson Atkins, they have been the real constants in this lineup that, as you said, is really has been in a constant state of motion until we get to the playoffs here. Collins will swing and miss and give himself up. They will throw down to first anyway. It's a strikeout and out number 1 of the second inning. Jackson Harding, the right fielder, batting 7th, steps into the left-handed batter's box. Another lefty that Lynchburg can throw out there. Collins, Harding, Fiedler due up 6, 7, 8 here in the bottom of the second. Lynchburg got 2 on in their first whack at it, but stranded. Shenandoah's already stranded 3. 3 left on base already for Shenandoah. Keep an eye on that number because Shenandoah stranded 12 yesterday. Lynchburg pitching well with runners on base. Long run here for Jacob Bell. Throw is slightly behind him, but he did a nice job to sort of hesitate, take the ball out of the sky, and then step on the bag with his right foot. Good play right there from Jacob Bell, fielding the position, getting over and covering, and it's 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning.
That can be such a difficult play to make. We know that sometimes you want to toss it over, and then you have to consider, do you just tag the bag? And Harding is not going to make that play easy. And so nice work from the right side of the Shenandoah defense just to have the awareness.
Yeah, the first baseman, Pierce Booker, there was no way he was beating Harding back to the bag. I mean, he had to throw that one. It was interesting. I think he went with a little sidearm overhand flip. A lot of times the first baseman will prefer the underhand, but it was just too far for that as well. Ground ball to Ryan Clausen. He'll throw across to get Holden Fiedler, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Lynchburg in the bottom of the second. We are still deadlocked, shutouts going on for both squads. Shenandoah coming to hit in the top of the third. Super regional action from Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg.
Diving in college taught me to strive and be the best athlete I can be, but also the best student I can be. My coaches always made sure that the student comes first, because not everyone's going to become a professional athlete. So they make sure that we will do great in academics. I knew that would only open the door to my future, and I'm really excited to start my dream program for physical therapy.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby. Inside the 30, touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
Super regional action between Shenandoah and Lynchburg. Yes, that trophy coming into focus, Evan. One team will put their hands on it by day's end. Lynchburg only needs 1 win. Shenandoah will need to win back-to-back ball games. Lynchburg got game 1 yesterday, 9-6, but it is far from over. Nothing decided yet between these two talented ball clubs in the 6th time they've played this season. They split the regular season matchups up in Winchester. Lynchburg won an extra inning game. And then Shenandoah took game 2 in that. In Richmond, ODAC championship weekend, Lynchburg won both. That was 13-5 on Friday. And then Saturday, Shenandoah worked themselves back into the championship game and had an 8-0 lead, but Lynchburg came storming back, won that one 11-9. Hornets from Lynchburg 9-6 yesterday. And the Lynchburg has really used some big innings to their advantage, Evan. They've gotten a lot of runs against Shenandoah in those big innings as Frankie Ritter puts a charge into one, but well foul. And the count will should be 1-1 with nobody out in the top of the third. But Lynchburg with those big innings, and they're so good defensively and pitching-wise at minimizing the other team's big innings. We're already seeing it in these two ball games. Lynchburg does a really good job of tightening up and bowing their neck when runners get on base. Those pitchers, they seem to share that trait. And defensively, we know Lynchburg has a knack for making the big play here or there.
What seems like it's almost a trademark for Lynchburg at this point of the season, using those big innings. Batchmore has come out of the bullpen as he did yesterday, and the good teams have those bullpens that are rock solid and aren't going to give any ground to opposing teams. And I think what's so interesting about Lynchburg is that throughout the season they have used multiple options, including some of the freshmen.
Young options out of the bullpen to bound. Frankie Ritter skies this one. It's going to be foul again. Left fielder, shortstop, and third baseman all gave chase. Brandon Garcia is going to put the lid back on. Count is 2-2. Frankie Ritter is already 1 for 1 in this ball game. Facing Brandon Pond here with nobody out, top of the third. Pond gets it in on him. Got a little knockdown there, but Ritter's able to stay alive. Don't know if that came off the foot or he just twisted the ankle as he was going to the ground, but Ritter's going to dust himself off and get back in there, Evan.
Any chance you can get this guy to lead off an inning, and sometimes you can't necessarily predict that if you're a coach, but having him in that first spot is so crucial. We'll see it again.
Great location here from Brandon Pond. Got it right where he wanted. Ritter's able to stay alive. Spray it back. Let's see if Pond goes back in there again, or maybe it's the wipeout slider outside. Yeah, they tried to get it in there. That one almost hit Frankie Ritter. Pond wasn't pleased with the location that time, and we'll have to do it again. Full count. Nobody out. Brandon Pond pitching to Frankie Ritter. Here it comes. Oh, that one must have just missed. Long hold from Holden Fiedler. And it's a walk from Frankie Ritter. First walk Brandon Pond has issued. Great at bat from Ritter. Fought off that nasty pitch inside. That one was obviously close. It got all of the Lynchburg fans' attention there. But it is a walk. And now a runner on board again for Shenandoah.
That is a monster take for number 7 in blue, and those are the at-bats that can change a ball game, as Martin will bunt this one foul.
0-1 count. That ball almost looked like it was coming back into play. Eric Hyatt scooped it up foul. And there might have been something to be said for trying to actually wait and let it roll back fair. Usually you let the bunt roll foul. In that case, hitter Colby Martin would have been in no man's land. He never got out of the batter's box, and the runner Frankie Ritter was all the way down to second base. Could have potentially maybe gotten Martin out if the ball comes back fair, but it's just a strike. We'll see if the sacrifice bunt is on again. No, Martin swinging away on this one, and he swings through that pitch from Brandon Pond. 0-2 count. Nobody out. Colby Martin grounded out to the third baseman in his first at-bat. He is a former ODAC Player of the Year, 2021. Same year Brandon Pond won Pitcher of the Year. Colby Martin was Player of the Year. So we got a battle between former major award winners in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. It's as good as it gets right here. 0-2 pitch coming up from Pond. Not yet. He's going to check on Frankie Ritter again.
Also considering the fact that the last 3 years, the two coaches in this ball game have won Coach of the Year.
Kevin Anderson for Shenandoah won it this year. That's his third ODAC Coach of the Year award. He's got 3, just like Coach Lucas Jones. So 6 between the two coaches. We can keep going down the list. These guys have won the major awards. Pitcher, Player of the Year. Avery Neves was Player of the Year last year. He's the left fielder for Lynchburg. Jack Batchmore was Pitcher of the Year this year. Gavin Collins, a former Rookie of the Year. Nick Matfield, a former Rookie of the Year. He's on the IL right now for Lynchburg, but still a big part of the ball club. So, yeah, there's a lot of award winners, a lot of hardware. Need new trophy cases for all the things that these guys in this game win, and their team awards as well.
Have a feeling they'd like that Super Regional trophy just a little bit more today.
That is the big trophy you want to get your hands on, and then maybe one after that if you can grasp the Super Regional and book that ticket to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Another ball there for Brandon Pond. 2-2 is the count to Colby Martin. Runner on first is Frankie Ritter. Infield double play depth for Lynchburg. Here's the pitch. Ball airborne from Martin. Might stay in. Brandon Pond's going to give chase. Fiedler to the fence, and it is out of play here at Bank of the James Stadium. How about Brandon Pond sprinting off the mound? Typically, the plan is you don't want your pitcher catching pop-ups, Evan, but Brandon Pond says, forget that. I'm going after it.
Well, if you can do it yourself, I think the coaches aren't going to mind it as long as you make the play, but that's just a testament to what the guys in this ball game can do, and it can be said for everyone, just making the hustle plays. And for sure in a spot like this, Lynchburg is going to need one on the mound with Pond.
Here comes the 2-strike delivery again. That's off the plate. And the count will run full. Frankie Ritter, good time to run. It's not the classic full count 2 outs. There's nobody out, but let's see if Frankie Ritter's on the move at first base. Pond's thinking about it. He'll fire one over there to Eric Hyatt at first again. Brandon Pond did start as a two-way guy at Lynchburg, so he's clearly caught some pop-ups in his day. No doubt about that. He's doesn't have any at-bats yet this year, but I think he always makes the joke to the coaches, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready for a pinch hit role out there if you need me.
Any chance you can afford, you got to take it. That's the game of baseball.
Full count. Colby Martin came into the weekend hitting .398. Ritter is running, swung on by Martin into right field. Jackson Harding coming on. Second baseman Ben Jones is under it. He'll drift out there and make the grab. No throw at first as Ritter was able to get back safely. One out, top of the third. Gavin Horning, the right fielder, stepping in. He had a couple hits yesterday. Ritter, Martin, Horning, top 3 in the lineup, all had multiple hits. Normally when you do that, Evan, you win the game. I mean, that's a thing in baseball to where you feel like if you get that kind of production, we should be in good shape. They out-hit Lynchburg yesterday, but the Lynchburg Hornets using those walks, so resourceful on defense. Or so resourceful on offense, rather, but on defense as well, the point still applies. Lynchburg found a way to get a 9-6 victory using that big inning. We're going to get a look at that snap pickoff throw from Brandon Pond that nearly got Frankie Ritter, but Ritter just able to get the right hand back in time over there at first base. Ball 1 to Gavin Horning.
And what's so impressive about the 1-2 hitters is we're going to see Ritter get back here. Pond made that quick snap back. And looks like Ritter got a hand in, but Pond making it interesting. The thing about the 1-2 hitters in Ritter and Martin is that even when they're out, as we saw with Colby Martin in that last at-bat, they're making it productive, driving up the pitch count, and in an opportunity like this, you want to try to get at Lynchburg's bullpen.
1-0 count, Ritter running, swung on. Jones was covering, but he's going to get to the fly ball in time. Snap throw over to first, and it's a double play. How about that? Right man, right spot. Ben Jones, a little bit of bad luck for Shenandoah there. Gavin Horning, don't know if it was a true hit and run that he couldn't get on the ground, or maybe he was just swinging away on his own, but the ball finds Ben Jones. Sidearm throw over to first base to get the third out of the inning. We are still scoreless through 2.5 Super Regional play in the Hill City of Lynchburg. Big defensive work for Lynchburg. They get their 46th double play of the season, Evan. That will jump them back into the Division III lead in that category. Shenandoah was actually tied with them after yesterday's game. Both teams had turned 45 double plays. And those double plays count too. It doesn't have to be the conventional ground ball, 6-4-3, 5-4-3, et cetera. They all count as far as that category goes. So Lynchburg, I mentioned that timely defense, resourceful on defense and offense. Lynchburg showing it right there. Nice play from Ben Jones.
Double play is one of those things in baseball where you can't exactly control that all the time. Obviously, a better pitcher on the mound will help you produce either ground outs or not getting all of the ball when you have contact. But it just shows with these two fielding alignments for squads that know their roles, and when around the infield, they have some really good stuff as Atkins will wave at strike 3.
It speaks to the quality of pitching for both teams, doesn't it? Because like you said, those good pitchers, ball's going to be low in the zone with action, whether it's a breaking ball or your two-seam fastball sinking a little bit, so you get a lot of ground balls that way. But then, as you saw from Brandon Pond, you get some of those weak line drives and looping fly balls. It may have been a hit-and-run called for by Coach Kevin Anderson in Shenandoah. And the general thought on that is you want to hit a hard ground ball somewhere. Ben Jones had vacated that spot to go to cover the steal. So in theory, if Gavin Horning can hit it there on the ground, it should be a base hit. Ritter's going to go first to third. That's how it's supposed to work on paper. But if you get under it, it can end up burning you there. A hit-and-run play that is supposed to be an aggressive offensive play and ends up costing you maybe an out. Ground ball from Brandon Garcia is the second out of the inning. Good play by Pierce Booker to handle a little bit of an in-between hop, and now it is Ben Jones, the man that got the big defensive play for Lynchburg in the top half of the third. Hopes to get something started here with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. It's Jacob Bell still pitching for Shenandoah. Seems like all systems go right now for Jacob Bell. He walked 1 and gave up 1 base hit. That was to Ben Jones. And that was even a ball that Kyle Lisa got his glove on up the middle, Evan. So I think right now, Jacob Bell probably feels pretty good, and his Shenandoah teammates probably feel pretty good about what he's doing too.
And when the man on the mound has 6 straight outs and you know he's dealing, you just have to let him do his thing. And for this defense, it's about making sure that every ground ball or something that is supposed to be an out, you make sure that you retire it away.
Seen a few little defensive hiccups from Shenandoah, and you do have to say we've seen some defensive mishaps from Lynchburg as well. They had 3 errors yesterday. 2-1 count. Ben Jones swings through that. We're even up at deuces, and there is 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning. Still no score between these two heavyweights. Don't know if you call this round 2 or maybe round 6. This is the 6th game they've played this season. That one just off the plate. Really nice nibble from Jacob Bell, but Ben Jones didn't take a bite. Full count. Ben Jones, another one of those patient guys. He'll take the walks. He's got a bunch of them this season. He'll have to swing at that down the right field line. It's fair. It's going to be 2 for Ben Jones and maybe 3. Let's see how quickly the right fielder Gavin Horning can get to it. Jones will hold at second. How about that? Clocking in, present and accounted for. Ben Jones has got his second hit of the ball game. It's Lynchburg's second hit and a man in scoring position for Avery Neves.
Anytime you can break the momentum like that, it's just one swing of the bat that can change a ball game. And Lynchburg with a runner in scoring position and the All-American at the plate.
Flew out to left field in his first at bat. Neves has gone a little cold here in his last 5 or 6 ball games. Always dangerous. Jacob Bell misses high there. A little stutter step on the landing there. Yeah, Jacob Bell's going to kick at the landing area a bit. Make sure things are how he wants it. 1-0 start to Avery Neves. Neves was 0 for 2 yesterday. Did take 3 walks, as usual. Line drive to the shortstop, Ritter. Going to be a tough play. Neves runs well. Ritter unloads, and Booker held the bag at first. Nice job getting that one across the diamond for Frankie Ritter. And the threat is erased. Lynchburg, 1 double. They strand 1. And we are moving to the top of the 4th inning in Super Regional action between Lynchburg and Shenandoah. There's a strikeout from Jacob Bell. Got Carson Atkins way out front. Let's talk about Jacob Bell and how he pitches next time we get to see him, Evan. But right now you're seeing Tyler Blittersdorf, the catcher for Shenandoah, step in there. He struck out in his first at-bat. It's Brandon Pond. Scouting report on Brandon Pond is mid to upper 80s. He has the hard slider. A lot of similarities to Zach Potts yesterday as far as when he really gets it going. It's mainly fastball slider. He can give you the changeup. He's obviously got that in the mix. He can turn one over and throw more of a curveball, but Brandon Pond's slider can be in the mid to upper 80s when he's really on. And he can be lights out, obviously. You don't win the 2021 ODAC Pitcher of the Year award without having lights out stuff. This season for Brandon Pond, 4-1, 2.85 earned run average, hitters hitting just .222 against him. He has surrendered 3 base hits today and walked 1 Shenandoah batter, but avoided major problems thanks to some timely defense and timely pitching as well. Got to give Brandon Pond his share of the credit. Blittersdorf will swing on this. Foul territory, out of play, and out of reach from Gavin Collins.
And clearly coming back from injury, Brandon Pond was still a priority for this coaching staff. You don't throw a guy out there to start with 2 innings if he's someone that you think is just going to come out of the bullpen or maybe not be as effective as before. The guys understand Pond, when he has good stuff, like you said, is lights out. And in the big moments like this one, he wants to be the guy on the mound.
And of course, he took the ball in the ODAC championship game. Oh, that was off Pond's foot. Redirected over to Hyatt. Pond getting over to cover. Oh, he got there in time, I think, but lost the ball on the flip from Eric Hyatt. Going to get a stoppage here to check on Brandon Pond. One of the athletic trainers is going to make their way out in just a moment. That could not have felt good, and you can see Brandon Pond still showing the after effects. Knowing what we know about him and his competitive fire, he's going to try to stay in the game, no doubt about that. But he'll get the once over from the professionals here. You'll get another look at it. Blittersdorf just really hit that one hard, and it seemed to catch Brandon Pond's right foot flush there. Pond got to the bag. The ball actually got to his glove as well on the flip from Eric Hyatt. This is going to be a better look right here, Evan.
Ooh. Sometimes it doesn't take a baseball player or an athlete to understand that one hurt.
Yeah, that's got to sting. Pond's going to get a couple warm-up pitches here just to test it and see how it feels. It will be the 4th hit of the ball game. Blittersdorf's first. Pierce Booker is due up next. Brandon Pond struck him out. Don't see anybody really scampering to get loose in the Lynchburg bullpen, so I think they feel pretty good about the likelihood of Brandon Pond staying in the ball game. Bank of the James Stadium in the Hill City is the site. Yeah, you see a couple Lynchburg players just kind of moving around, but nobody in a hurry to get hot. And yeah, Brandon Pond is staying out there. Nice applause from the crowd. And it will be Pierce Booker. Struck out in his first at bat. Speaking of award winners, Pierce Booker, Evan, is a former Old Dominion Athletic Conference Scholar Athlete of the Year award winner for baseball. He's in the graduate program, the Doctorate of Physical Therapy program. Actually, it's slightly more than the graduate program up there at Shenandoah. So doing it on the field and in the classroom. Pierce Booker.
Always extends beyond the game. He's going to get a bunt down, and it's a good one. Pond is going to slip on his way to get it.
And was able to throw it from his wallet over there to first base. So that's pretty smart baseball from Kevin Anderson. Whether you wanted to bunt or not, the fact that Brandon Pond got hit in the foot and just bobbled a ball at first base as well, why not test him a little bit with a great bunt? Booker put it in a nice spot. Pond was the only one getting to that. I don't think Holden Fiedler maybe could have come out in time. There's the slip, and Pond with the athleticism, the body control, able to throw it over there from his backside. I don't know if you practiced that one or not, but Brandon Pond made it work. It's the first out of the inning. Runner is in scoring position for Ryan Clausen. The third baseman's 1 for 1 in this game.
You see that a little more often on turf as Clausen is going to pop one up. It looks like Ben Jones has it at second for out number 2. But as we saw in Pitt Field in Richmond, a lot of times it's slick, and with the heat, you're going to see more guys slipping around. But credit to Pond, just getting that ball over to first. When you fall or something happens, you have to remember there's still a play to be made.
The sacrifice bunt may have been in the cards anyway for Shenandoah, but again, I really like the strategy of let's test this guy again. He just got hit in the foot. No, it kind of gets back to what I've always said about you don't apologize for your good breaks. You take advantage of them. Why not try to take advantage of that situation? I think Pond's okay. I mean, I'm in saying that he might be in pain out there as well, but he seems to be throwing the baseball fine. Blittersdorf leads off at second. Hayden Madigan is 1 for 1. The left fielder from Winchester, Virginia, will swing on this second offering from Pond and foul it away. Even now, 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning. This is the 3rd time Shenandoah has gotten a runner in scoring position. They did that in innings 1 and 2. Now in inning number 4. It's the 4th base runner total for Shenandoah. I beg your pardon. They actually had the double play. Frankie Ritter did get on with the walk and then got doubled off. So it's actually technically the 5th base runner for Shenandoah. 2-1 count here on Hayden Madigan.
3 innings in this ball game. They have been able to get the leadoff guy on as well, as Pond is a strike away from getting out of it. Again, it just shows the success they have when they can start things early in the innings.
There's that wipeout slider from Brandon Pond. 2-2 count. Let's see if he goes back to it. You'll get a big roar from Brandon Pond if he's able to get Hayden Madigan out of there on strikes. Maybe just if they get him out. Here's the pitch. Inside fastball. Rung him up. Looking. Brandon Pond. He'll jog off. Don't know if he's in pain or not, but he's pitching his ball club right where they need to be. Still shutout baseball from Brandon Pond. Let's see if the Lynchburg offense can rally behind him as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Runner on second. Brandon Pond got hit with a batted ball. No problem getting the final out with the strikeout. Madigan looking. And, yeah, you saw a little hitch in the giddy up there, Evan. I don't know. Some people in the press box seem to think Brandon Pond did that because he's feeling good. He's feeling himself. I don't know. Is he in pain or is he feeling good?
Well, you never know, and that's something that maybe he's just trying to fool the Shenandoah dugout.
Right. That's some head game stuff right there. Sean Pokerock swung through the first pitch from Jacob Bell. And let's give Jacob Bell the full credit. He still looks good. Pitching report on Bell is low 80s fastball, but throws the changeup in any count, and I mean any count. And the changeup is so hard to see for him. He's got the breaking ball as well, but really knows how to pitch. We've already seen him with the pickoff move. He knows how to hold runners. He understands all those different pieces about being a great pitcher. And he has been great for Shenandoah this season. His last outing was a little rough, but overall, Jacob Bell has been outstanding this year. He'll get Sean Pokerock swinging through one. So Bell has now struck out his 3rd. Each pitcher has struck out 1. Each pitcher has walked 1. I guess the major difference maybe Shenandoah's got 4 hits and Lynchburg's only got 2 right now. Eric Hyatt grounded out to the shortstop in his first at bat. think Shenandoah really values having pitchers that Lynchburg hasn't gotten a lot of looks at, which is hard to say the 6th time you've played a team this season. But Lynchburg has not faced Jacob Bell yet. Got to go back to 2022, an April game there. Last time Lynchburg got a look at Jacob Bell. So you may not have the deep file to work with if you're a Lynchburg hitter.
You have to think that Kevin Anderson made that move on purpose, starting favor yesterday. Maybe you just see what your ball club can achieve in that first game, and we know that Bell is already a good enough pitcher to where even if you've seen him 100 times, you're going to have to go up and face some very tough talent.
The relief man yesterday, Jackson Sherman, Lynchburg hadn't seen him at all as well, and everybody raving about the job that Jackson Sherman did, with good reason, too. He threw the ball outstanding yesterday, kept his team in striking distance. There's ball 4 as Jacob Bell misses the zone with a fastball. That'll be the second free pass he has issued. Runner on base is Eric Hyatt. This is Gavin Collins, who struck out in his first at bat. That was to lead off the second inning. There is 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning. Super regional action between Shenandoah and Lynchburg. It's the 6th time they've played. Second game of the series. Collins lays into one, hits it to left field, but the wind got on it, knocked it down. Pretty easy grab in the end for Hayden Madigan. First pitch hack from Gavin Collins. I think he hit it well, but not well enough to get by the outer defenses of Shenandoah.
And a battle of heavyweights like this one, we've seen lots of runners in scoring position as well, but it still doesn't feel like it's much of a threat with the pitchers on the mound. It might take one in the run column to really get people thinking this ball game will have some momentum changes, but for now, the battle of the Hornets still locked at nothing.
Good action on that pitch. I think it might have been the changeup from Jacob Bell. Jackson Harding did not offer, but it's strike 1. Jackson Harding grounded out to first base in his first at bat. That was the one where Jacob Bell got over and covered nicely. 1-1 count with 2 outs. Yeah, Sean Pokerock struck out. Gavin Collins flew out to left. This is going to be a long run. Bermuda Triangle ball in foul territory. Did Clausen come up with it? No, the ball is rolling foul. So new life for Jackson Harding. It is a 1-2 count. There is 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning. 0-0 ball game here between Shenandoah and Lynchburg. And what is game 2 of a possible 3? The if necessary game would take place 45 minutes after the conclusion of this one, Evan, and that would be if necessary only if Shenandoah wins. Long run there for Ritter and Clausen, and the left fielder Madigan wasn't far behind as well. See if Bell goes with the devastating changeup or maybe something else. Here's the pitch. I think it was the change of pace, and Harding was able to foul that one away.
Clausen on that last play seemed to have the best shot at it, but credit to Ritter going over. Obviously, you have to call it, but at the same time, those are the plays, the hustle plays that can make a difference.
That play's happening so quick and so far away from you. I'm not sure you do call that. You might just run out there to it. I think Bell went with the changeup again. I mean, by the book, fundamentally, you're right. You should be calling it, of course, but I don't know. With that one, it just might be something where you're at a full sprint. You don't know if you can get there, so it's hard to even call it. That ball pops out of Blittersdorf's mitt. It was a ball, but I'm not sure that helped maybe the cause if you're trying to frame that one. Full count now with 2 outs. Runner will be on the move here. That runner is Eric Hyatt. He walked. Sean Pokerock struck out to begin the inning. Gavin Collins flew out to left. Here's the pitch to Jackson Harding. He'll foul it back. Could hear it on the crowd mic, and we'll try it again with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Quick hands all around this ball game, and it really allows some foul contact. That's why these two teams have done such a great job of extending at-bats.
Harding sends this one up the middle. Long run for Cooper Anderson, but he makes the play. Elite defense in center field. Cooper Anderson showing off again. He caught it in the air, but then the momentum kind of brought him down to the ground. That's a fine way to end the bottom of the 4th inning and preserve a shutout. Jackson Harding maybe thought he had a base knock. Cooper Anderson taking it out of the sky for Shenandoah. through 4 complete. Still a shutout on both sides. Everybody's blanked out here at Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg. Here's a look yesterday at a play Cooper Anderson made. Yeah, full flight right there, taking a hit away, Evan. He's got major wheels in center field. Great instincts as well. He just seems to read it off the bat, know where it's going. There's probably some scouting report in there as well, knows where guys like to hit it, and really makes a lot of great plays for Shenandoah. He is an elite defender out there in center field. Cooper Anderson, he'll be due up second in this inning. 8-hole man Kyle Lisa hitting now. It's 8-9-1 for Shenandoah. Still facing Brandon Pond. Swing and a miss by Kyle Lisa. Lisa popped out to Gavin Collins in his first at bat. It is a tie ball game in the top of the 5th inning. Still 0-0. 0-2 pitch from Brandon Pond was not really close, and now he'll get the baseball back and try again. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Back to your point on Anderson, anytime you get to patrol that outfield and center, it's not only about having the athleticism, but having the reaction time to get there. And it seems that every single ball hit his direction, he is running there before it's even halfway coming down, and that's why the coaches are putting him out there.
Lisa's going to hit one out to Lynchburg's very good defensive center fielder. That is Carson Atkins. He's under it. Out number 1 in the books, and here comes Cooper Anderson, number 8 from Clearbrook, Virginia. He is the son of head coach Kevin Anderson. And he's a hitter as well. We're raving about his defense, but Cooper Anderson can really swing it. He hit .500 in the 5 regional games up at Shenandoah in Winchester. It got them to this point. Check swing offering. Anderson did not go, and it's ball 1.
Batting .350 on the season as well. It's not just the postseason that he's delivered. Again, going back to the fact that a lot of these Shenandoah batters have been in the lineup throughout the season, and sometimes that can just help demonstrate not only the trust from the coaching staff, but being able to get reps, understand what it's going to be like when the postseason arrives.
Don't know what Lynchburg's scouting report says on Cooper Anderson, but they've been able to figure him out for the most part. Anderson in the 5 games now against Lynchburg is hitting just 4 for 21. So under 200 for the batting average for Cooper Anderson against Lynchburg. And that's not to knock on Cooper Anderson or belittle him in any way. It means Lynchburg's got him figured out, but maybe that's changing right there. Cooper Anderson slashing one through the hole past Brandon Garcia, and he's aboard. So the numbers against Lynchburg and the numbers in general are going to look a little better for Cooper Anderson. He'll be a threat to run on first base now with 1 out, and Frankie Ritter steps in 1 for 1 with a walk so far. 3rd time facing Brandon Pond. So Shenandoah is turning that lineup over, Evan.
Well, that's a big spot for Anderson, too, because instead for Ritter, he would have came up with 2 outs and nobody on, and now he's got a chance to start causing some damage here in this 5th inning. We know that ball games between Shenandoah and Lynchburg can sometimes be that big inning, but at the same time, the way they're pitching, 1 run might be enough. Garcia can't get the play, and now there are 2 on for the Hornets in blue.
First pitch swinging there from Frankie Ritter. Brandon Garcia did his best. He must have been close, but unable to pull it in, and it's a base hit, back-to-back singles. 6 hits 5th and 6th hits that Brandon Pond has surrendered. No extra base hits just yet for Shenandoah. The 4 doubles yesterday, they can bang it around. They've got power really through the lineup, as we've both been saying, Evan. This man right here specifically, Colby Martin, dangerous hitter. Former ODAC Player of the Year in 2021, facing former ODAC Pitcher of the Year that same season.
Both Martin and Horning, OPS over 1,000. You know they're willing to cause some damage, and especially in a spot like this. Getting that early lead has been very beneficial when these two teams have played, so just having the momentum in your favor can get energy going in the dugouts. Martin is going to fly out to Harding and right. Anderson is going, and throw will be cut off. So runners on the corners for Shenandoah.
Big out there to retire Colby Martin. Jackson Harding nearly misplayed it. He had to really run in at the last second. They're going to see if Cooper Anderson left early at second base. He did not, but there's a look at Jackson Harding. Another very, very good defensive outfielder. I think Lynchburg's outfield defense is so underrated and so good. Here's Gavin Horning, the right fielder for Shenandoah, batting now 0 for 2, including that double play that ended the 3rd inning. He hits with runners at 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. Lynchburg will have their 1st to 3rd steal coverage ready. Frankie Ritter runs well at 1st. Cooper Anderson runs well at 3rd. There's a breaking ball across for strike 1. Good start for Brandon Pond.
Seems like Horning gets his bat on almost every pitch that's near the zone. And when he gets his bat on it, he can put it in another area code.
He'll swing and miss at that one. Delay, steal, maybe an intentional attempt to get picked off by Frankie Ritter. He was trying to get the attention of Lynchburg's defense and cause the rundown situation. So he will move to second. But it's an 0-2 count on Gavin Horning. Crowd coming alive for Brandon Pond. Pond is ready. Away target for Fiedler. Got it there. It's off the plate for a ball. Intentional setup pitch by Lynchburg. Let's see what Pond comes back with. Lynchburg defense paid no attention to Frankie Ritter. They were just fine letting him move into second. 2 in scoring position here for Shenandoah. This is a massive pitch coming up in the top of the 5th inning. Still 0-0. Breaking ball outside. Horning was leaning, but didn't get the bat off his shoulders. Now the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
If you're Fiedler behind the plate, you have to be ready for that breaking ball away, because if one gets in the dirt, you know Anderson has the speed to get home.
2 speedy runners out there for Shenandoah. Base hit, you would think, would probably score both. Here's the pitch. Inside, it hit Gavin Horning. Gavin Horning gets hit by pitches a lot. His numbers are through the roof. It's 25 now on the season in 52 games. So not quite half a hit by pitch per game, but that is part of his arsenal. He does not move out of the way on those inside pitches, and he will go to first. You did have first base open. Gavin Horning's still in some pain over there. He, I think, might be asking for the athletic trainer from Shenandoah. Yeah, Gavin Horning took that one on the elbow. Where's that elbow guard? It may have got him just underneath that. So that's the price you pay when you get hit by a lot of pitches, Evan. Yeah, you like having the base runner, and you don't want to get out of the way when that pitcher throws it inside, but that baseball hurts.
Well, yesterday it was the wrist. Looks like it's the elbow today. Horning's one of those guys, again, not afraid to wear it, but it can come at a cost. Blittersdorf's going to be in a big spot here. Bases loaded, and anytime you have your cleanup hitter in that situation, you have to feel good about things as a coach. But a pop-up in the outfield will get Brandon Pond and the Lynchburg Hornets out of the 5th.
Blittersdorf 1 for 2. He struck out in his first at bat against Brandon Pond. He did have 1 hit yesterday. That was the double. Extra base hit would be massive here. Horning runs well also. Ball in the dirt, and it got by Fiedler. Got under him. Here comes Anderson. They flip to Pond, but Cooper Anderson slides in safely. That's the first run of the ball game. Shenandoah gets it on a passed ball. Lynchburg defensively is normally rock solid, but that one just got underneath the glove of Holden Fiedler. It is a ball as well, so it's a 1-0 count for Blittersdorf as Shenandoah with a spot now to do major damage, but they have struck first. 1-0, Shenandoah leading.
Baseball is one of those games, it's not always all even on the scoreboard. We mentioned that Shenandoah out-hit Lynchburg yesterday, but it seems that getting their bat on the ball has been successful today. It's going to be popped up to the outfield, and Atkins has it routinely for out number 3 against Shenandoah. The first on the scoreboard. It's 1-0 from Bank of the James Stadium right here in Lynchburg.
Cooper Anderson singled to get on, and he comes home on a breaking ball in the dirt that got underneath Holden Fiedler, the catcher for Lynchburg. Feet first slide, first run of the game for Cooper Anderson, who you just pointed out, Evan, is doing a little bit of everything, taking hits away, scoring runs. Holden Fiedler stepping into the batter's box to lead off for Lynchburg. Maybe a spot of redemption right here. Not to get too poetic about it, but it's a chance anyway for Holden Fiedler. 8-9-1 due up for Lynchburg in their half of the 5th.
Another example of how any part of this lineup can be a good spot to start things off. Fiedler has been very solid this season, not only behind the plate, but when he steps up to bat right at 300 on the season. 2 RBIs in yesterday's game, and those were big, just getting that momentum in Lynchburg's favor.
Lynchburg's gotten 2 base runners into scoring position. It was actually Ben Jones both times, singled in the first and then moved up when Sean Pokerock walked. And then Ben Jones also doubled in the 3rd inning, but that's it. Ben Jones has both Lynchburg hits. Eric Hyatt has walked once. Sean Pokerock, I just mentioned, has walked once. Those are the base runners allowed by Jacob Bell, who continues to pitch effectively. Fly ball to Gavin Horning in right field, makes the grab. And there's one away in the bottom of the 5th inning. Well, this is nice for Jacob Bell. I mentioned he got roughed up in his last start. That was a Friday night regional opening game against TCNJ. Only pitched 3 innings, gave up 9 hits, 7 earned runs. So this is far and away better than that.
You had to imagine he was going to be fired up for this one. And not only are you thinking about that loss to TCNJ, but just knowing your stuff. He was undefeated on the season before that game. And so being in a big spot with your backs against the wall, obviously this is the first time that it's been an elimination game between these 2 teams. And so he knows what he's facing.
Yeah, it's interesting because Lynchburg beat Shenandoah in that ODAC championship game, but both teams were pretty confident that they were going to get an at-large bid if they didn't win the Old Dominion Athletic Conference tournament. And I think most people plugged into the Division III baseball landscape agreed with that. So it's hard to call that an elimination game in that ODAC championship game. And you could make that argument about Lynchburg when they had the ODAC opening weekend loss to Bridgewater. They bounced back and won 2 in a row. Hard to really call those elimination games, Evan. But Lynchburg did win the elimination game against Lebanon Valley in the Rocky Mount Regional to get to this point. So Lynchburg, we could say they're 1-0 in season-ending games so far this year. Shenandoah's 4-0, undefeated. They lost that first game to TCNJ and then ran off 4 straight, 2 games each day. 4 wins in 2 days for Shenandoah to get here. Atkins strikes out for the second time, and this brings up the leadoff man, Brandon Garcia, who is 0 for 2 so far today.
Right on cue, going back to Garcia's comments this week, he touched on the familiarity between these two teams, and sometimes, at least in the major leagues or professional levels, that can make it a little more dull. You're not having too much energy when you face the team so many times, but he thinks between these two Hornet squads that it's only more intense when you see each other at big stages in the season, and now it's arguably the biggest one that you're going to see, as obviously one team season will be over by this evening.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game for sure. It's got all parts of that. Garcia slices one up the middle. Bell really had no chance at it, even though it was in his direction, and that's a base hit. Third one of the game for Lynchburg, but just the second player to get a hit. Previously, the guy that had the other base knocks was this man, Ben Jones. Got the monkey off his back yesterday. Benny Bombs has already got a double down the right field line today. This would be explosive if Ben Jones could get something cranked up here. Good speed at first with Brandon Garcia. Lynchburg down by 1, trailing for the first time in this Super Regional. Ben Jones hit his 11th double of the season in his previous at-bat. He's 2 for 2, so he seems to like hitting off Jacob Bell, at least at the moment. 0-1 count. Bell's got the ball set under his chin, now throws over to keep an eye on Brandon Garcia.
An 11-game on-base streak for the man at the plate, and 6 straight with walks. So obviously he's hitting the ball, but he's getting in good counts as well, and that's something that's contributing to the success. When you can get in those counts, you're able to find pitches that you like and get a good swing on them.
Ben Jones really understands hitting and plate discipline, knows the zone, walked once yesterday. He's taken 33 walks this season. That's not even in a full season of work, and it's 33 walks to 26 strikeouts for Ben Jones. And remember, he's a freshman. 1-2 count right here against Jacob Bell, who has 4 strikeouts so far today. He'll throw back again on Brandon Garcia. See if Jacob Bell goes with the tried and true changeup, or maybe tries to get a fastball underneath the hands of Ben Jones. 1-2 count, 2 outs. Here he comes. Jones will swing on it. Garcia running. This one popped up into the infield. Should be a pretty easy grab for the shortstop, Frankie Ritter. He does make the catch, and Lynchburg get a runner on, but stranded. Shenandoah leading 1-0 in the Battle of the Hornets. Who's got the king of sting in Super Regional action here from Bank of the James Stadium in Lynchburg?
Right back with you from Bank of the James Stadium here in Lynchburg, Virginia. Brandon Pond still on the mound for Lynchburg. Allowed just 1 run and 6 hits, but that 1 run is enough right now for Shenandoah to be in the lead as we enter the top of the 6th right here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. And up to the plate for Shenandoah will be Pierce Booker. Strikeout and a sacrifice here today. He's going to fly this one out. Collins and Fiedler are running. Fiedler is waving him off. Who's going to have it is the question. A bit of a collision And Fiedler had it for the out. It was a very difficult way to get it.
Friendly fire situation there, Evan, as Gavin Collins was coming on. He wanted that one, and Holden Fiedler called for it. You could see that with the mannerisms here. Watch Fiedler put the arms out. That's kind of the visual signal in addition to the verbal. They hit. Fiedler gets knocked down. Collins keeps going, but how about Fiedler popping up saying, I'm just fine. Let's throw this ball around the infield here. You like to see that. Gavin Collins is going to get the equipment adjusted. Lynchburg calls their plays in with that radio device there, the signaling, and they're going to have to go to a backup piece of the cord. So modern baseball at its finest right there. Some of our old school fans might be wondering what's going on, but yes, the Lynchburg coaching staff signals in the plays with the radio device in Fiedler's ear. A lot of teams are doing that now. And some teams still with the old school give the signs on the face and the body. And then, of course, there's a number of teams that let the catcher call the game as well. Some coaches prefer that.
It's a beautiful part of this game is there's no one right way to do it. And so many different teams with different strategies and ways to succeed.
Pretty nice catch by Fiedler. That shouldn't be lost in it. Even if he doesn't get plowed over by his own third baseman, it's a good grab over there in foul territory near the dugout. It looks like we're ready to go again. Ryan Clausen is 1 for 2 with a single in his first at bat. Going after the first pitch, Clausen swings it early in the count. That seems to be a trend for him and one that Lynchburg's coaching staff would already be aware of. Ryan Clausen, another guy swinging a good bat in regional play. 10 for 21 up in Winchester in those 5 games. Hitting over 400 in postseason baseball altogether. I think this is postseason game number 13 now for Shenandoah, if you count all the Old Dominion Athletic Conference stuff.
And for Clausen at the plate, over 200 career college games. Just shows the resume that a lot of these guys have. They've been in the moment before, and experience is always valuable when you get out on the big stage.
2-1 count as we see some of our fans enjoying a nice day here in Central Virginia. More clouds today. Ryan Clausen saw that one clearly through the clouds and rammed it into left field for his second hit of the ball game. 2 for 3 now, bringing up Hayden Madigan, who is 1 for 2 with a strikeout. That's hit number 7 of the game for Shenandoah. So Brandon Pond has scattered 7 hits. You got to use that phrase. They've been spread around. And Brandon Pond obviously has not allowed major damage in a 1-0 ball game. But got to be really tight here with another runner on first and 1 out.
Shenandoah makes it so difficult because you want to get that first pitch strike even if it's not swinging. But then if you put it in the zone, you have a chance of having big contact, and Clausen able to work himself into a 2-1 count there and making good things happen.
Yeah, that's the double-edged sword when it comes to pitching. You want to get ahead, you want to go after hitters, but then you got these teams with great offensive numbers, teams that you have seen on your own can swing the bat and hit the ball hard. You want to be careful. I think maybe that might have been part of the reason for 9 walks yesterday for Shenandoah as a team between the 2 pitchers. You know what Lynchburg's capable of. You don't want to get hurt, and I don't necessarily mean that in the physical sense, although we've seen Brandon Pond take the ball off the foot. I mean, that's something that unfortunately is in the back of your mind as a pitcher. You don't want to physically get hurt, but you don't want to give up a bunch of runs on the scoreboard either. Madigan fouls that one off. Looked like Pond had him out front on another off-speed pitch. The count will be 1-2 with 1 out. The top of the 6th inning. Shenandoah leading 1-0.
So many high-scoring affairs we've seen between these 2 teams today. 1 run could end up being enough to secure a victory, but lots of game to be played. And you have to think that Brandon Pond on the mound right now is feeling pretty comfortable about staying and trying to work for his team.
I think knowing Brandon Pond, he'll want to finish the game. He wants a complete game every time he goes out there. Now, he's a realist, and he knows baseball. He's got a high baseball IQ. He knows occasionally the bullpen's going to have to get involved. But those great pitchers, Evan, they do not like coming out of the game. There's the flag still blowing, wind blowing in. It is knocking some balls down. Nice pitch from Brandon Pond. That one ran back into the body of Hayden Madigan. Don't know if it was a changeup or a two-seamer, but that had some action on it that Madigan could not figure out. That's strikeout number 4 of the ball game for Brandon Pond, and it's out number 2 of the inning. There's another look. It may have actually been a backup slider, a slider that kind of broke the other direction. You get those every now and then with those slider monsters like Brandon Pond.
It's always interesting, too, to see different pitchers and how many different pitches do they have. We know Nick Matfield, who has been hurt this season for Lynchburg, one of those guys that uses the full arsenal. You see guys, Pond, one of those sort of in the middle, but the stuff that he has is very effective when it's on.
0-1 count to Kyle Lisa. The second baseman is 0 for 2 so far in this ball game. Breaking ball in the dirt. Runner going. Fiedler chucks it down. Nice backup by Brandon Garcia, to save a base there. It was Ryan Clausen that read the ball in the dirt, took off. Fiedler got to his feet pretty quickly and made a strong throw. The throw was tailing and unable to be handled by the second baseman, Ben Jones, but the backup by Brandon Garcia limits further damage. It's another runner in scoring position for Shenandoah.
Talk about baseball IQ. That was demonstrated at its finest by Garcia. Had to make a little bit of an athletic play as well just to make sure it didn't get to Atkins. We've seen that a lot this season, and across Division III you get that throw out, or even seeing runners that go from first to second. You think about sending a runner home from third. So many different variations.
2-1 count, one look from Brandon Pond. Got Lisa swinging at that one. And now it's 2-2 with 2 outs. Shenandoah has stranded 5 in scoring position, 6 runners total. So that tells you what Brandon Pond has done with runners on base and in these pressure situations. He's ready for another one right here. The hitter is Kyle Lisa, 0 for 2. Pond, that one's in the dirt. Lisa never even sniffed it, and now the count is full with 2 outs. More volume from the crowd again. They've been into it. They've been enjoying this game and the series and all season for their respective ball clubs. Lynchburg 42-7. Shenandoah 42-9. Here comes Brandon Pond. Ground ball, left side. Garcia has it. He'll shuffle across and fire. Grabbed by Eric Hyatt, and it's another left in scoring position for Shenandoah. They lead 1-0. Let's see if Lynchburg can answer in the bottom of the 6th inning.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Memorial Day weekend. We are enjoying it at the ballpark, Bank of the James Stadium here in the Hill City of Lynchburg. All the old school Lynchburg fans still call it City Stadium, Evan, but it is Bank of the James Stadium. We are near the James River. It's such a great setting to take in a game. Jacob Bell seems to be enjoying his time on the mound here at Bank of the James Stadium. He surrendered 3 hits, 2 walks for Jacob Bell. He struck out 4. And still a shutout going on here as Bell is pitching into the 6th inning. Avery Neves leading off for Lynchburg.
If Lynchburg wants to have a big inning, this might be it with Neves, Pokerock, and Hyatt due up. Going back to Bank of the James Stadium, it's such a historic spot. 10 different teams have played on this field since it opened in 1940, the 5th oldest in minor league play right now. It's just such an awesome spot to be able to see baseball, and Lynchburg fortunate enough for their ball club to host this Super Regional. Shenandoah got to host the regional in the last round, so both teams have had NCAA tournament games on their own soil.
Yeah, Lynchburg, I think we did the math or used the satellite imagery. The home plate here at Bank of the James Stadium is 1.2 miles to Fox Field, the official home ground for Lynchburg. 3-0 count for Avery Neves. Number 30 will take that one, and now it's 3-1. So theoretically, we're within walking distance. The guys could have walked over from campus, but everybody took the cars over, which is what you would expect. There's ball 4 for Avery Neves. Took some walks yesterday, and he has done that consistently throughout his career. He's the all-time conference leader in base on balls, and the leadoff man is aboard for the first time today for Lynchburg. Jacob Bell, first time he has allowed the first hitter of the inning to reach base, so that's important. Sean Pokerock has walked once and also struck out. Nobody out in the bottom of the 6th.
Bell just 3 walks allowed today, but at the same time, that can still add to base runners. Neves will get down at second, and that's going to be out number 1 on the sacrifice bunt.
Good job by Sean Pokerock. I think the ideal bunt probably goes more to one of the corner infielders. That was sort of back in Jacob Bell's direction, but it was a sacrifice, and he did the job, so check the box there. Eric Hyatt, 0 for 1 with a walk himself. Yeah, great textbook bunting position there. Got into the legs a little bit, bending at the knees and at the waist. Makes it easier to cushion that bunt and control the bat. And executed nicely. Hyatt will swing on the first pitch. Got slightly out in front, and it's a fly ball to the left fielder for the second out. So 2 pretty quick outs there for Jacob Bell after walking the leadoff man, Avery Neves. Gavin Collins will be hitting with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Collins is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Flew out to left field himself. A ball that looked like he hit pretty well, but the wind just knocking it down here at Bank of the James. Collins hit one yesterday on the nose to left field, Evan, but just ended up being a long out. And that can happen in these big, spacious ballparks, especially when you get some wind. 0-1 count. Collins will drive this one into the right center gap. Another long run for Horning and Anderson, but it's Gavin Horning coming on to take the hit away. Elite defense all the way around the diamond, and this time it's Gavin Horning in right field. Long run to steal one from Gavin Collins. Lynchburg still scoreless after 6 complete at Bank of the James Stadium. It's a 1-0 Shenandoah lead. Freshman Mason McDowell in out of the bullpen for Lynchburg. The hard-throwing right-hander is on in the top of the 7th inning to try to keep the Lynchburg Hornets within striking distance of the Shenandoah Hornets, who lead right now 1-0.
McDowell this season has been present really at any time of the 2023 campaign, something that's valuable for a freshman. This will be appearance number 15. 3.68 ERA, 14 2/3 for his log, and obviously this will be a very big spot. This is only the 4th pitcher Lynchburg has used so far in the Super Regional, 2 yesterday in Potts and Batchmore. And then McDowell will follow up Brandon Pond today.
Yeah, you got all those guys ready to go, and here we are. Shenandoah's only used 3 so far in the 2 games, and Lynchburg only using their 4th guy in the 2 games. So pitching has been good. They've kept the offenses in check. A 9-6 game yesterday. Obviously, 9 runs probably feels like a lot for most baseball fans. But pitching has been solid. Defense has been solid with a few notable exceptions. Ball getting underneath Holden Fiedler that allowed this man, Cooper Anderson, to score the first and only run of the game so far. It's a 2-2 count on Anderson. Lynchburg defense straight away, medium deep, although the right fielder Jackson Harding kind of creeping in a little bit. Anderson hit that one off his body, and that stings. He'll try to walk it off as he hobbles back in the box with another 2-strike whack coming.
And Kyle, good pitching has, throughout the season, but especially in this postseason play, provided some very good results. The top 3 team ERAs in the nation, which go to Endicott, Wheaton, and Lynchburg respectively. All 3 won their Super Regional Game 1s yesterday. So being able to have control on the mound and really dictate your play can be important.
Tapper out of the box. Fiedler moving quickly. Catch and throw, and does get Cooper Anderson at first base. That was bang, bang. As close as you're going to get over there at first base. Nice job by Holden Fiedler popping out, fielding his position. It was maybe in that zone where McDowell could have got it. Fiedler has to come out and throw across his body a little bit. Some catchers will favor the spin move, actually turning their back to the base. But Fiedler gets it. Nice job there by Eric Hyatt to hold on. And it is the first out of the inning. Leadoff man Frankie Ritter coming up. 2 for 2 with a walk so far for Frankie Ritter. He has been a problem for Lynchburg. Let's see how Mason McDowell attacks him.
We always talk about framing from a catcher's perspective, being able to keep those strikes that you're supposed to have as a pitcher, but at first base, just making that play look a little bit more comfortable can sometimes help earn the umpire's vote.
Ritter will foul that one back to the screen. He kind of chased himself out of the box on that swing. I don't know what that says about the balance that he's got going on, but hard to argue with the results when you're talking about Frankie Ritter and the all-time conference leader in hits. Yeah, just that front foot kind of slid out from under him. May say something about the dirt quality there in the batter's box. It's just kind of slid out there, but Ritter's okay. And it's a 1-2 count with 1 out. McDowell set and ready to go here. He's a hard-throwing freshman from Fishersville, Virginia. Ball 2.
You love what Travis Beasley, pitching coach for Lynchburg, just what he has been able to accomplish this season using so many different options. And when you have Jack Batchmore in the bullpen, you have to make sure these other guys get reps as well, just like McDowell does as he retires Ritter.
Big punch out there from Mason McDowell, his first. 5th time Shenandoah has taken a K in the scorebook, and Colby Martin, who is 0 for 3, actually looking to extend a 13-game hitting streak. 13 in a row up to this point. He's hitting with 2 outs. Great point on the bullpen with Jack Batchmore eating up so many of the innings. It does maybe give less opportunities for some other guys coming out of the back end over there for Lynchburg. So that is something to manage as a coach for sure. Associate head coach Travis Beasley and Michael Solbach do such a great job with the pitchers. And you do have a lot of college baseball games. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for guys to get in there. But I think you brought up and hit on a great point. As Martin will foul one out of play. It should be a 2-1 count now on the designated hitter from Shenandoah.
Batchmore this season has 73 innings pitched, second only to Zach Potts, who has over 100 now after yesterday's outing. Talk about reliable arms, and that can go for both teams on this diamond today.
That's as good of a 1-2 punch as you're going to find in college baseball right now between Zach Potts and Jack Batchmore. Just look at the stats. That'll tell you a whole lot. 3-1 count here on Colby Martin. He might be in the go mode. Colby Martin's always in the go mode. Be careful right here. Fastball in from Mason McDowell. I don't know that he wanted to walk Colby Martin, but not the worst result ever if you're a Lynchburg fan. Martin is a good runner, and he's on board with 2 outs for another really good hitter. Gavin Horning, the right fielder, is 0 for 2. Got hit in his last plate appearance. Did pop into that double play to Ben Jones at second base. Lynchburg will only need 1 out to get out of this inning. But it's a key one to get right here with Gavin Horning. 414 on the season. He has been just eating opposing pitchers alive. 23 multi-hit games this year for Gavin Horning. He hit .402 last year. So it's not only this season, it's his career. He's been doing it.
Sometimes stats don't tell the story, but I think they say enough. Martin's on the move. Fiedler will have the throw high, and he's in safely to second. Back again to that base running. It just seems like every chance they get, Shenandoah is moving around the base pads.
They use the stolen base as a weapon for sure. Colby Martin is in scoring position now for Gavin Horning. That was ball 1. It's actually a pretty good pitch to throw on. Colby Martin was just too quick that time. 2 outs, top of the 7th inning. It's getting late out here in game 2 of the 3-game series. Game 3 only if Shenandoah holds on to win this one. That's a called strike, and the count is 1-1. Mason McDowell, the freshman, working against Gavin Horning. First team All-ODAC player. Really a no-doubter. Horning swings on this one. It's going to stay fair. Hyatt moving over. It actually drifted foul, and the pitcher, Mason McDowell, made the grab. Mason McDowell is a two-way guy. He's an infielder himself, so no problem coming across the first base line to make a key out. Shenandoah strands another in scoring position. That's 7 so far today, but they do lead 1-0. Shenandoah on top. Lynchburg coming up in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's not just the humans enjoying the ball game today. The dogs are out as well here. A nice day to take in an outstanding game. 1-0, Shenandoah leading. We are in the bottom of the 7th inning, Evan. This is everything we thought it would be. Yesterday, even though Lynchburg put up the 7 spot in the 4th and got out to the big lead, it ended up being close. 3-run Lynchburg win. I always talk about that one swing of the bat category, games decided by 4 runs or less. Lynchburg is now 23-7 in those games, decided by 4 or less. Shenandoah 21-6, which isn't shabby, obviously. They know how to win a close ball game as well.
Well, most of these teams, if they lose in the regular season, it's likely within 4 runs.
Right.
Just a testament to the talent.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. You hit the nail on the head there. All of Lynchburg's losses have come by 4 runs or less. They've lost by 4 separate times, but Lynchburg's never been blown out. Shenandoah doesn't get blown out very often. The exception was that first regional game against TCNJ, but they seem to have bounced back just fine. There's a fly ball from Jackson Harding into left field. That is the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning. Holden Fiedler, the catcher, is up. He's 0 for 2. Grounded out to third and flew out to right. Still looking for his first hit of the ball game against Jacob Bell, who continues to impress. Fiedler swinging at the first pitch. This might stay in catching range for Pierce Booker. No, it will be a foul ball near where the K9 was set up at Bank of the James Stadium.
So many first pitch swings that we've seen today, and that goes for both ball clubs. You've seen these guys a decent bit by this point. Bell going into the 7th inning is going to start seeing Lynchburg hitters a 4th time. Fiedler's going to pop one, and it will fall for a base hit. So 1 on and 1 out for Lynchburg.
It's one of those that looks like a line drive in the scorebook. Jacob Bell's probably thinking, man, I made a pretty good pitch there, but Fiedler is on board with 1 out. 4th hit of the ball game for Lynchburg. Brings up Carson Atkins, the 9-hole hitter. Ready to punch the clock and do some work here. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. He can't seem to figure out Jacob Bell yet.
Clausen over at third, ready for the bunt. Obviously, it would be 2 outs, sending Brandon Garcia to the plate. But it looks like Atkins, once he gets a swing on one, that's going to be strike 2.
Well, with all that happened yesterday, we kind of forgot to talk about what a great base hit bunt Carson Atkins put down in that 4th inning. That was part of the run scoring. That actually brought a run in. It might have been a sacrifice concept, but it was perfectly placed by Carson Atkins. He ended up getting an infield single out of it. 0-2 count. Atkins will stay alive there. 1 out. Brandon Garcia shouting some encouragement from the on-deck circle. He's coming up next. The leadoff man for Lynchburg is 1 for 3. Ben Jones, the 2-hole hitter, is 2 for 4. So if you're Lynchburg, you feel like you can keep this going, bring those hot hitters up. Atkins will slash one into center field. His counterpart, Cooper Anderson, going back. He'll twist around, finally line it up, and pull it in for the 2nd out of the inning.
See some similarities today that you don't always see in baseball games. And again, when it works out, it's always pretty on the score sheet. But we know that Garcia and Ritter, the 2 shortstops, batting first, and then the 2 center fielders and the 9-hole. Kevin Anderson's going to make a visit to the mound.
Yeah, the rest of the orders are all scrambled up from there, but it is sort of an interesting note. Kevin Anderson will walk out and talk to Jacob Bell, who's at 96 pitches. 96 pitches. The strike percentage is over 60%. It's actually 61.5%. So Jacob Bell in full control. Just a reminder of the game plan here, I think. And perhaps Kevin Anderson could be saying, hey, you're closing in on 100 pitches. We have some guys ready, but this is your inning. We want you to finish the 7th inning. So maybe that finish on empty concept here. Empty the gas tank might be the message from Kevin Anderson. As the powwow at the mound will get broken up by the home plate umpire. And now we're ready for Brandon Garcia. Singled in his last at bat. Holden Fiedler is the runner at first.
And Kyle, I think you're exactly right. When you're facing the top of this Lynchburg lineup, it's a chance where there can be some damage caused, and then Ben Jones sitting right behind him. It's a big spot if Shenandoah can get out of it. Keeping zeros on the scoreboard, Fiedler's going to get 2nd.
Well, that's big right there. That ball just got away from Tyler Blittersdorf. Holden Fiedler read it properly and got himself in scoring position. That is the tying run now in scoring position. Not great wheels for Holden Fiedler. I always apologize to the Holden Fiedler fans when I say that. But runs the bases well, and you saw it on display right there. He's in scoring position now. A really hard shot right at an outfielder might force Fiedler to stay, but then you'd have 2 on for Ben Jones. Strike 1, outer half for Jacob Bell. 1-1 count on Brandon Garcia. Bell checks Fiedler. Nobody holding him close. There's one that comes in bottom of the zone for strike 2.
It's a big strike to get ahead because now Garcia has to protect the plate. And we know, like you said, if this is Bell's last inning, he's going to come at you with what he's got left.
Shenandoah fans are behind him. Garcia will flare one into the netting foul, and we'll try it again with a 1-2 count. Bottom of the 7th inning. So chances are running out for Lynchburg. They're only down by 1. But, man, with the way Bell has pitched and the defense Shenandoah has played, 1 run feels like a lot right now. Here it comes to Garcia. Lays off that one outside. Good take. Good take right there. Blittersdorf didn't give it the long hold for the umpire, but it felt close. 2-2 delivery coming up for the right-hander, Jacob Bell. He checks on Fiedler, now throws to Garcia. Another foul ball sent out of play. We'll try it again in a 1-0 ball game. Super Regional ball game. Shenandoah needs to win this and the next one. Lynchburg just one of two. You'd like to put it out of reach right here if you're Lynchburg. That one was out of reach from Brandon Garcia. Jacob Bell is pumped, and why wouldn't he be? Off the mound with the shutout intact. Struck out Brandon Garcia to end the 7th inning.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
We've got a great day to play. Excuse me, Evan. Looks like rain coming into Central Virginia tomorrow, but we're good today. The sun's trying to fight its way out. Sunny disposition for Shenandoah. They lead 1-0. They know this is not over yet. That's the other thing about Shenandoah's dugout right now. They're probably feeling good, and they should feel good on top 1-0, but nothing is decided yet. Shenandoah looking for much-needed insurance here in the top of the 8th inning. They'll be facing Mason McDowell again. Second inning of work for Mason. McDowell struck out one and walked one. Started at the bottom of the order. Now he's getting some heavy hitters here. Cleanup hitter Tyler Blittersdorf will watch that one for a ball.
It's been a pitcher's matchup the whole way. 7 stranded for Lynchburg, 8 stranded for Shenandoah on base. And no RBIs yet. And we're here in the top of the 8th inning. So obviously, whoever has been on the mound has done a phenomenal job of just keeping the contact light and getting the outs that they needed.
Yeah, both teams are hitless with runners in scoring position. Shenandoah is 0 for 10. Lynchburg is 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Lynchburg is 0 for 10 with runners on base. For Shenandoah, they've got a couple hits with runners on, but the number doesn't look great. It's 2 for 16 with runners on base for Shenandoah. Swing and miss from Blittersdorf. So I say these guys like Brandon Pond, and let's throw Jacob Bell from Shenandoah in there, I say they pitch better with runners on base. Maybe they really do. It's just kind of what I observe anecdotally, but maybe the numbers back that up. Garcia's going to dive. That one gets under the glove. That's a seeing eye single for Tyler Blittersdorf that he actually hit pretty good. 8th hit of the ball game for Shenandoah. First one that Mason McDowell has surrendered.
It's a big spot just to get the leadoff guy on, and now with Booker stepping up behind him. Not a hit yet, but a big spot to contribute for the Shenandoah Hornets. And back to your point just about the pitchers, I think adrenaline is such a key factor. We touched on it with Pond earlier, but even Bell coming off the mound after he retired that last out in the 7th. You know these guys like to be in the moment, and they make sure that they can capitalize.
Pinch runner on for Blittersdorf is going to be number 48, Steven Drengwitz. Probably just a pinch runner. I don't believe he's listed as a catcher. So we'll get to see a new catcher back there for Shenandoah when they get back on the defensive side of things. Fastball for a strike from Mason McDowell. Pierce Booker was showing the sac bunt. He does have one sacrifice bunt already in the game. Well, there's a nasty breaking ball from McDowell. He'll move to the third base side to field, throws to first base for the out. So another successful sac bunt by Pierce Booker. It will move the runner in scoring position for Ryan Clausen, the Richmond, Virginia native, is 2 for 3 so far in this ballgame.
If you're a Lynchburg fan, you want to punch out or pop up here, keep that runner at second, because we know with his speed, obviously being entered as a pinch runner, a base hit should score him.
Shenandoah has left 7 in scoring position. They're 0 for 2, or excuse me, 0 for 10 rather, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position so far in this game. Whoa, watch out. That's just a seemingly innocent, casual play, but that play had a little bit of everything. That ball nearly hit the runner, and it nearly got into center field. Ben Jones has to move over to make a pretty good grab on a pickoff attempt. Watch that. Close shave out there. And Mason McDowell throws hard as well, so that obviously would not have felt good if it hit Dringwitz.
Well, let's just say to the spectator's eye, that probably looked a lot easier than it really was to execute. Jones able to hold on to that. If that gets into center field, then you got a runner knocking at the door on third.
Clausen will take evasive action and move out of the way from Mason McDowell's heater. 2-0 count. You do have first base open. 1-0 ball game. Madigan is on deck. He is 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He has yet to face Mason McDowell. I think Lynchburg will let McDowell go through the lineup once, but then maybe might get another option out of the bullpen if Cooper Anderson comes back up. I think that's part of the plan here, is only let Shenandoah get one look at these relievers. 2-1 after McDowell gets the breaking ball across the outer third of the plate. Checking the runner at second, now fires. Clausen swings on it. Should be a pretty easy grab. I say that. It's a long run for Carson Atkins. Yeah, he actually fields that one in shallow left center, but does make the catch for out number 2.
You know, if your center fielder is taking a few steps on the infield after a catch, he had to make a pretty long haul to get it. Again, just the athleticism of Atkins and Cooper Anderson, the 2 center fielders, and the entire outfield. They've made some very big plays in this Super Regional, and those are the ones you look back at and wonder how they shape the ball game.
A visit between the battery here, Mason McDowell and Holden Fiedler. The hitter will be Hayden Madigan. 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Shenandoah now the number is 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Evan, that goes back to a little bit of one of our themes from yesterday. They left 12 runners stranded. They left 8 on base so far in this game, 7 of them in scoring position. Shenandoah does lead. They do lead 1-0. They've done enough at this point, but you'd love some insurance and a chance for it right here. Hayden Madigan could buy a policy and drive in an extra run here for Shenandoah.
If you're Lynchburg, an out's going to be huge, because not only does it allow an extra run, but it probably keeps this dugout and Shenandoah fans out of it for now. We know energy has been such a key factor, and anytime that you can take hold of it and have control going into your hitting half of the inning, you can make good things happen.
If you're Lynchburg, you feel like you're still one swing away, and you'd probably theoretically still be one swing away if you were down 2-0, but boy, doubling the lead would be huge. I think you're right. Momentum would be a conversation piece for us. Madigan drives that one, but again, Wynn just hits it and knocks it down. It ends up only being medium deep for Carson Atkins. So struggles with runners in scoring position continue for Shenandoah. Lynchburg hanging around, but they need a run or more in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's coming up next. Super Regional Game 2 from the Hill City in Lynchburg at Bank of the James Stadium. Parker Farrington, left-handed option out of the bullpen for Shenandoah, and he is a very good one. He pitched Saturday and Sunday in their regional victories. They leaned on him a lot last weekend. They're going to lean on him right now to preserve a 1-0 lead. How about Jacob Bell, Evan? All he did was go 7 shutout innings against one of the best teams in the country, the Lynchburg Hornets. Jacob Bell surrenders 4 hits. He walked a couple. Some great defensive grabs out there for Jacob Bell. He pitched outstanding. He has his team in the lead right now. Jacob Bell would be in line for a regional win, and that would be win number, let's see, it would be win number 9 on the season for Jacob Bell if the score line stands.
And not only is it impressive stuff in a big moment, but how about a comeback from that game against the College of New Jersey? Not that he thought any less of his stuff after that outing, but just being able to come back and only allow 4 hits, it says a lot, and it could set up Shenandoah nicely for a potential Game 3, but they'll have to go through innings 8 and 9 to get there as Ben Jones leads off.
Number 13, Brody Pickett, is the new catcher for Shenandoah, so it's a completely new battery right here for the boys in blue from Winchester, who lead 1-0. Blittersdorf started. Blittersdorf caught all 9 yesterday, got the base hit, then was removed for a pinch runner. So that's high value for Shenandoah both ways. You get Blittersdorf a little bit of a breather here, rest his legs, and you get some speed out there. We know Brody Pickett is a good option. Last time we saw him, he was doing the bulk of the catching in Richmond. I say the bulk of it. Shenandoah did use 4 or 5 catchers throughout those ODAC tournament games. 0-2 count pretty quickly here on Ben Jones. That fastball just missed. Looked like Brody Pickett thought it was a good pitch. And now the count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out in the bottom of the 8th.
Jones is not afraid to take a pitch that's close to the zone. Saw that in his last at-bat. He's going to get one that will go foul down the left field line. And that's just what good hitters do. Both sides, we've seen it throughout this Super Regional. Even if you go down 0-2, there's a chance to fight your way back.
Jones will foul another one away. Yeah, his pitch recognition and his plate awareness and discipline is second to none, and he's just a freshman. But I mean that when I say that. He is so good in that batter's box. Farrington going to try to get him. Jones has fouled off 3 to that left side. Not quite carbon copies, but they're all moving in that direction. We'll see if Jones can get the head out on one from Farrington. That might be what Shenandoah wants. They might want him out front. Farrington can pull the string on an off-speed pitch. 1-2's the count. That was in the dirt. Now we're even at 2-2 with nobody out in the bottom of the 8th inning.
In an ideal situation, I think that's what you want out of your reliever, to come in. And if you don't have all the off-speed stuff, you want to bring some velocity. Jones late on the first few. That one in on the hands a little bit, but it will be foul.
Check swing there. That was close. Farrington's got 3 saves on the season. 16 saves for Shenandoah spread amongst 7 different players. He's actually one of 3 guys with 3 saves. And Kyle Lisa has 4 saves. So it really is closer by committee for Shenandoah. Full count here. As Ben Jones has worked himself into another good at bat. Here it comes. Flared to the third base line, and it's fair. It bounced off of Clausen's glove. Ben Jones was thinking about maybe turning for 2, but the shortstop Frankie Ritter came over there to help Clausen retrieve the loose ball. And that's a base hit, I think. Clausen had to dive after that one. Yeah, it's definitely a base hit. Coach Kevin Anderson's going to walk out and ask the home plate umpire if maybe he thought that ball was foul or not. But right now, we think it's a single from Ben Jones to begin the 8th inning. It'll be Avery Neves, the All-American, hitting. If this stands, if not, I guess Ben Jones will come back and hit with a full count again. Yeah, pretty short word there from Kevin Anderson. How about Ben Jones? 3rd hit of the ball game, Evan. Talk about getting the monkey off your back. He made that gesture yesterday in his first base hit. He's got 3 of them today, and he's aboard for the All-American.
A big spot again for Lynchburg, and if you're Clausen at 3rd, you have to wonder if the ball ricochets off the bag as well, because sometimes that can send it in a different direction. So many things to worry about with that foul line, but either way, Ben Jones is standing on first.
0-1 count on Avery Neves. Clausen is even with the bag. I don't know if he's expecting maybe a bunt from Neves or what. Rest of the infield is double play depth. Outfield is medium deep. Not too deep on Avery Neves. With the wind knocking the ball down, that's probably the right play. Breaking ball in on Neves. Couldn't pull the trigger, and now the count is 1-2. Nobody out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Sean Pokerock waits on deck. He hit the bases clearing double yesterday, and Eric Hyatt will be after that. Neves lasers one into left field. It's going back, and it's gone. A 2-run home run for Avery Neves. Elevate and celebrate, Lynchburg. They have taken the lead. We said the wind was knocking balls down and the outfield was played perfectly. Well, there was nothing the left fielder Madigan could do. He went back to the track and could only look up. Avery Neves, the All-American, punching the clock when his ball club needs it most. Wow, 2-1, Lynchburg on top.
Bash, burn, and bounce, Avery Neves. That was the biggest hit of the ball game and maybe of the season for the All-American. The Lynchburg fans can feel it.
My goodness. Parker Farrington, I actually thought he made a pretty good pitch, Evan. Hopefully we'll get a replay at some point of the swing and see exactly where the location was. But Avery Neves can do that. He can make you look bad in a hurry. He can turn a good pitch into a home run. Avery Neves has put his team up. Pokerock trying to do it. This one will be foul down the left field line. There's still nobody out here in the 8th as well. That's the thing about this Lynchburg team. They get that red wave. They use those big innings. Here's a look at Avery Neves. He was inside. Neves did not miss it. Wow. 0-2 coming up to Pokerock. There's another ball well hit, but well foul from Sean Pokerock.
Takes one hit to open up a ball game, and the energy is sizzling here at Bank of the James Stadium.
8th home run for Avery Neves this season, 34th in his career at Lynchburg, and he is the school leader in that category. Yeah, you saw it right there. Power on offer from Avery Neves. Another look at it. How about that? I think he knew it. I think he knew it had a chance anyway, Evan. Here comes another 0-2 to Sean Pokerock. It's crazy. We want to keep reliving that. We've still got a great at-bat going on right here. That was a close pitch from Farrington, but it's just ball one. Pokerock's fouled off at least 4, maybe 5.
Well, Kyle, when you see a hit like that, it's a little easier to forget that the flag is moving in. See contact that was loud, and Pokerock's going to keep it going with a single. It's 3 straight for the Lynchburg Hornets.
Yeah, this is shaping up like one of those classic Lynchburg innings, isn't it? 3 hits in a row. Farrington has not recorded an out yet, and that is a lonely place out there right now for Parker Farrington. Pinch runner coming on will be Logan Webster. He will enter for Sean Pokerock. So Pokerock between the 2 games has done great things. Obviously, the bases clearing double yesterday. He is out in this one. Logan Webster will lead off with nobody out. Could be sacrifice bunt situation for Eric Hyatt. If you're Coach Lucas Jones, you might think, let's swing away. Let's try to ride this red wave. Let's get as many runs as we can before it crests rather than play for just one more. But right now, roles are reversed. It was a 1-0 Shenandoah lead a blink of an eye ago. Now Lynchburg on top by 1. There's the move over from Farrington. It looked like Eric Hyatt was showing the sacrifice bunt, Evan.
And that's a selfless play, too. He has a 15-game on-base streak. So, obviously, if you get a bunt down, that can be a bunt single. You can be standing at first, but 1 run might not be enough here if you're Lynchburg.
Hyatt bunts it down to first base. It'll stay fair, and then picked up on the line for the first out by Pierce Booker. That was as close as you can get. That ball was just rolling on the chalk for a full 40 feet or so down the line. But there is a runner in scoring position for Gavin Collins. Gavin Collins is a guy who does not mind the spotlight and has delivered in some big occasions. Think about that home run back in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference Championship game to get the comeback started for Lynchburg. That was against Shenandoah. Looked like Gavin Collins wanted something similar there. He went down to one knee to try to golf that one out of here.
Talk about confidence, Collins stepping into the box. It seems like every single time he sees a pitch he thinks he can hit, he's trying to drive one. Just 1 out here for Lynchburg.
Parker Farrington is 0 for 2 against Lynchburg this season. That ball is going to get underneath the catcher, Brody Pickett. Long run. Logan Webster will round third, but stay right there. Webster's pumped. Collins makes the assignment a bit easier for him now, Evan, because it brings the sacrifice fly in play. And that's what you're thinking for Gavin Collins. That's the assignment again. Sack fly, double, home run. Those are the options, although with the infield drawn in, that might make Gavin Collins a little more apt to try to just hit a line drive or even a ground ball. 1-1 pitch coming up from Farrington. Collins will swing on that, lifts it into center field. Let's see if it's deep enough. Cooper Anderson throws well. Webster's going to get sent. Throw up the line, and he'll slide in safely. Sacrifice fly for Gavin Collins. Lynchburg gets a much-needed insurance run. They're now on top by 2. There are 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, the move from Lucas Jones to use that pinch runner and Logan Webster is certainly going to pay off. Cooper Anderson had about as good of a throw as he could have imagined. We go back just to those keys of the game early on. Seems like it has certainly started to really come into effect. Lynchburg not leaving runners stranded, and it's been a game where both teams have left a few runners on base, but Lynchburg trying to attack.
Yeah, Lynchburg's left 7 stranded. Ground ball from Jackson Harding. Lynchburg's left 7 stranded, but only 3 in scoring position. Shenandoah has left 8 runners stranded in scoring position. Lynchburg, they are seizing the moment here after a 2-run home run from Avery Neves, and then they add an additional run. Single from Poker Rock. They bunt him to second. Ball gets underneath the catcher. He moves to third. And then sacrifice fly by Gavin Collins gets Lynchburg the 3rd run. And here comes Jack Batchmore. He slammed the door yesterday, Evan, and he's going to try to do the same thing right here today for Lynchburg. We'll keep it right here. We won't go away in between innings. Let's just keep talking and recapping this one. For Shenandoah, first off, Evan, they've got to get some runners on, but then they've got to get them in. Just the 1 run so far. Shenandoah is 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position. That number you feel like is going to have to improve. Sure, you can have a home run situation like Avery Neves just did. Lynchburg scored 2 without a runner in scoring position after all, so it can happen, but you feel like Shenandoah is going to have to put something together and take advantage of the opportunities when they can. New first baseman will be Ryan Long. We saw that defensive change yesterday as well. So here we go. We're getting the photo finish that we thought we would get, coming down to the final rounds here between these 2 heavyweight ball clubs. And remember, Lynchburg only needs to win 1. It's not a must-win situation, but I think if you're Lynchburg, you feel like it is a must-win. You want to close it out right here.
Well, you don't want Shenandoah to hang around if you're Lynchburg, because we know the sport of baseball and we know how quickly momentum can shift. See Batchmore's stats on your screen. I want to throw one more at you just to consider. 91 strikeouts to 23 walks this season. He is a high strikeout guy, 11.12 K per 9, and he's going to come at you with what he's got.
Jack Batchmore is ready to go. Crowd is alive. I think most of these Lynchburg fans have just been on their feet since the Avery Neves home run and haven't sat down yet. For Shenandoah, it's the last chance here in an elimination game. Their season is down to the final 3 outs, and they would need to win game 3. It'll be Kyle Lisa leading off. He is 0 for 3. He's getting ready to face Jack Batchmore, who has been outstanding all season. Jack Batchmore was outstanding yesterday. 2 1/3 innings, struck out 6, and got another save. Batchmore got his 12th save of the season yesterday. This is a save situation, obviously, with Lynchburg leading 3-1. There's a fastball that hits the target. 1-1 count.
If you're Batchmore, it's about coming in quickly and finding the zone. You don't want to waste any time trying to dance around, especially facing Shenandoah's 8 and 9 hitters. But as we said earlier, we know this entire lineup is capable of putting something in play.
3-1 count here. Kyle Lisa not offering at the balls out of the zone. Lynchburg bats finally woke up. 3 in the 8th inning. Parker Farrington came in relief of Jacob Bell, who pitched outstanding. Don't let that fact be lost in all of this. Jacob Bell threw the ball great for Shenandoah, but Lynchburg storming back. That momentum changed in one swing. Really, Ben Jones single. And think back to that Ben Jones at bat, Evan. He fouled off a bunch of tough pitches from Farrington. It was, I think, 3 or 4 foul balls to the left side. Then Jones fouled one off to the right side and finally got a hit, his 3rd hit of the ball game. So Ben Jones, Benny bombs, no big explosions, but he has really done the job for Lynchburg in this series so far, this Super Regional series. Convo from Holden Fiedler and Jack Batchmore is over. Here's Jack yesterday. Slice him and dice him. Jack Batchmore was cooking. He was using all the special sauces and extra mustard out there. Batchmore's pitching with a runner on first now. Tying run in the batter's box. That's Cooper Anderson. He's going to bunt one foul.
Saw Fiedler go out to the mound to talk to Batch, and veteran move and veteran presence on both sides of this battery, but same thing for Shenandoah coming up with Anderson and Ritter on deck. You know, these guys are not afraid of the big moment.
Fastball just off, ball 1. There's nobody out. Cooper Anderson represents the tying run. And Lynchburg is the home team also. So I say Shenandoah comes back. We're going into game 3. Not quite. Lynchburg would get a chance to answer in the bottom of the 9th inning should this lead turn into a tie or a deficit for Lynchburg. Batchmore struggling to find it just a little bit. Scoreboard says 3-0, but that's not right because Cooper Anderson fouled one off. No, Anderson took a foul ball, didn't he? Oh, well, it's a walk. Our director, Tim LaDuca, thinks that the count was right, and nobody from Lynchburg is protesting or anything. So it's just a 4-pitch walk. And here comes a walk from associate head coach Travis Beasley. Wants to chat with his ball club. Yeah, he's going to get the entire infield on this one. Now the situation is slightly different, Evan. If you're Shenandoah, you'd love to take a lead, but Cooper Anderson at first base is a really important run. So the sacrifice bunt might be in play here for Shenandoah to get 2 in scoring position for 2 really big boppers coming up. Frankie Ritter is the hitter right now, but Colby Martin on deck. Gavin Horning is in the hole.
If you're Batchmore, obviously a bunt will present a bit of a different threat, but you don't want anything up in the zone, nothing that could get up and get out. If you can get a ground ball double play, that is a great spot for Lynchburg. But Frankie Ritter, as we've touched on, he has been in so many of these spots, and you don't really need to look at a stat sheet to understand he is ready to cause some damage if he can get good contact.
The Stevens City 5th year man is 2 for 3 so far in this game with a walk. Batchmore will spin and bluff a throw to second. Didn't look like Ritter was pulling the bat down for the sacrifice bunt attempt, but we'll see. Still nobody out here in the top of the 9th. Top of the 9th. Lynchburg is the home team in this one. They will be the visitors if we go to a game 3. Teams will switch there. Ritter will show the bunt. Puts it down, back to Batchmore, looks at third, spins, throws to first, and Lynchburg will get the out there with Ben Jones covering. So sacrifice bunt successfully executed. That's hard to say after 9 innings here, or 8 innings and change anyway.
We've had some energy.
No doubt about it. Lynchburg's got the energy now, but Shenandoah, it almost feels like they're building some back, doesn't it? Here's Colby Martin. Designated hitter is 0 for 3 with a walk. Facing Jack Batchmore for the first time today. There is 1 out. Lynchburg's got the infield back. You'll give up that first run over there at third base. You'll trade a run for an out here if you're Lynchburg.
Going back to earlier, if you're Fiedler, you have to be a brick wall behind the plate.
That's how Shenandoah got their first run. That ball that snuck under Fiedler's glove. Cooper Anderson has scored the only run for Shenandoah. Swinging a foul tip from Colby Martin. Count is 0-2 quickly for Jack Batchmore.
Touched on pitching better under pressure, some of these guys in the moment. We'll see what Jack Batchmore can do.
Lefty is set, kicks the leg and fires upstairs for ball 1. Might have been a chase pitch, setup pitch for Lynchburg. Colby Martin, the designated hitter, did not offer. Outfield shifts over slightly. That one just missed from Jack Batchmore. Up and in. 2-2 now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lynchburg coach is barking at the outfield to slide over more. They're shifted the opposite way. The umpire is going to take his notebook out and note something on his score sheet, lineup card. Interesting time to do it, Evan.
Well, it's not like it's the biggest part of the ball game or anything. We're not saying the umpires have been phenomenal all weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tough game to call for sure, as you got to look at Lynchburg coaches and outstanding Caroline Gerke doing so much for the Lynchburg athletics program and all the way around. Ball 3 for Jack Batchmore. Full count now. Colby Martin is the hitter for Shenandoah. Gavin Horning waits on deck. Batchmore deals the curveball and got him looking. Big snapper from Jack Batchmore. That was spicy mustard right there from Jack Batchmore. Colby Martin could not pull the trigger. And there's 2 outs. Lynchburg is 1 away from a trip to Cedar Rapids, Iowa for the D3 College World Series. A Super Regional title trophy is waiting for them as well. We got to look at that earlier. Gavin Horning trying to extend the game for Shenandoah. He represents the go-ahead run. Tying run is in scoring position. Fastball just off the plate. Ball 1 for Gavin Horning facing Jack Batchmore.
If you're a lot of ball clubs, you think about maybe intentionally walking him, but again, Shenandoah, such a powerful lineup.
You do have a base open. Brody Pickett will be the hitter on deck for Shenandoah. He has subbed into the game in a spot that Tyler Blittersdorf, the starting catcher, originally occupied. Another curveball from Jack Batchmore for a strike. Looks like he's got that going. See if he goes back to the 12-6 downward breaking action again. 1-1 count. Horning will swing on it into left field. Long run for Avery Neves, given chase, and it's out of play in the Lynchburg bullpen. So we'll try it again, and now it's a 1-2 count. Everybody on their feet now. Yeah, they're getting up here at Bank of the James Stadium. Might be standing up wherever you're watching this one at home. And we are so glad you are tuning in. It all comes down to this. It's a 1-2 count. 2 outs. We're in the top of the 9th inning. Shenandoah down by 2. The tying run is in scoring position. Here's Batchmore to Gavin Horning. Check swing. Did he go? He did not. It's just ball 2. Ooh.
The entire crowd thought that might have gone the other way.
Give Gavin Horning some credit. Good hold there on a high heater. Deuce is wild on the board. 2 outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lynchburg leads by 2. Here comes Jack Batchmore. Ready, aim, fire. Ball popped up in the infield, right side. Ryan Long is there. He'll pull it in. Lynchburg wins it. Lynchburg wins it. They're the Super Regional champs. The celebration is on. They're going bonkers again. Lynchburg ringing the bell and booking a trip to the D3 World Series. Get me to the land of the tall corn. The Hornets are headed to the Hawkeye State. Next stop, Cedar Rapids, Iowa for Lynchburg. They beat Shenandoah 3-1. What a ball game. What a comeback. 3 in the bottom of the 8th for Lynchburg to win it. Avery Neves, the 2-run home run. Lynchburg gets the insurance run. They hold on 3-1 to beat Shenandoah. The boys from Winchester will have their season come to an end. 42-10 for Shenandoah. An outstanding season that unfortunately for them will come to a close in the Hill City. Lynchburg wins it. They are moving on, Evan Gates.
Is there ever a matchup between Shenandoah and Lynchburg that doesn't come down to the final few plays? It has been a Super Regional that has tested absolutely everyone in the ballpark.
Lynchburg with a 9-6 victory yesterday. They had the 7-run 4th inning that propelled them to the win. This time it's 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th for Lynchburg, including the 2-run homer from the 2-time All-American Avery Neves. I think Neves had been kind of trying to get a monkey off of his back, Evan. He actually went back to Fox Field and put in some extra work after the game yesterday. He and Coach Oscar Garcia hit a little bit in the cage. There were some other Lynchburg Hornets players involved in that little after-game practice sesh, and it paid off for Lynchburg. Neves, 2-run jack. Look at him working the crowd, working his dugout. He wants more. Full celebration after Lynchburg wins it Ryan Long, the defensive replacement in the spotlight, catching that pop-up from Gavin Horning to end it.
You don't always get a climax in baseball games like this one, but boy, did it feel like there was an exclamation mark in that bottom of the 8th, and credit to Shenandoah and what has been an outstanding season, not just in the ODAC, but these are two teams that nationally have made some incredible strides, and two teams, if you looked at preseason rankings before, they were up, I believe it was 17th, and Shenandoah somewhere 20th. And no, these are two teams that have been top 10 ball clubs, and they have certainly earned their right to be in that conversation.
Yeah, these two teams have given us everything. They have played so well all season long. Lynchburg now actually has won 5 of 6 this year against Shenandoah, which kind of is mind-boggling when you know how good of a program Shenandoah has. They've had 30 wins or more the past 7 seasons, they being Shenandoah in this case. Don't count the COVID year in there, Evan, but full seasons, Shenandoah has won 30 or more 7 straight years. You saw Lynchburg head coach Lucas Jones giving a nice hug to Frankie Ritter. Frankie Ritter's over there congratulating a bunch of guys from Lynchburg. So once again, more great sportsmanship. That shows the class of a guy like Frankie Ritter, who we had so much fun talking to in that interview, and those interviews are still on the website. They'll stay on there if you want to check them out, Evan, and I think this game is going to stay on the website. This one, instant classic. We might have to go back this afternoon and watch this one.
Oh, I might have to as well. You talk about fundamental baseball. It seems like every single time these two teams meet, yeah, there have been some errors. There have been plays here and there. That's baseball, and these two teams have done a great job of truly finding the moment and making sure it pays off.
This feels like 4 championships already in this season for Lynchburg to me, Evan. A regular season ODAC title for Lynchburg. They were 19-3 in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. ODAC tournament champs, regional champs down in Rocky Mount, and now a super regional championship as well. There's the sign. Ticket punched. Lynchburg going to go from the James River across the Mississippi River to take it to Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's a great ballpark out there, by the way, Evan. Not to make this about me, but my parents, Dave and Elizabeth Haney, have watched a game in that ballpark. They did some advanced scouting to check it out. No, it was actually years ago, but it's going to be a great location for Lynchburg and the other 7 teams that make it to that World Series. And, hey, I'll say it, as you see the trophy hoisted up there by Lynchburg's coach Lucas Jones. He is a Lynchburg alum. He played here. He knows what this game is all about. Nobody respects the game more than Coach Lucas Jones. But I'll say it, Lynchburg's got a great chance out there in Cedar Rapids. They're going to have to beat some great teams. There's going to be 7 really good teams along with Lynchburg. But I think this Hornet squad from the Hill City, they'll stand the test. We'll see.
Oscar Garcia, one of the assistant coaches on this Lynchburg squad, he's talked about it a little this season. It's about being battle-tested, going into a regional, going into a super regional, playing games that make you think, that make you play your best ball. And for Lynchburg, when they go out to Iowa to play, they have certainly encountered their fair share of difficult games to play, some great competition in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. It's anyone's game out in Cedar Rapids, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, we got to end it here eventually, but real quick, one more shout-out to Shenandoah, their coach Kevin Anderson, his wonderful coaching staff, and those players. Some of those guys like Frankie Ritter probably has played his last college baseball game, but, man, they put up a fight. They were so much fun to watch. Special recognition to starting pitcher today, Jacob Bell, 7 shutout innings. I mean, my goodness, he did everything he could. Jackson Sherman threw the ball great yesterday. Cooper Anderson wowing us with his defense and offense as well. This is a Shenandoah team. This rivalry is not over. You can guarantee that. We have not heard the last of Shenandoah's baseball program, but unfortunately for them, a successful season, another successful season, a 42-win campaign for Kevin Anderson has come to an end here. Got to have one winner, one loser. In this case, the winner is Lynchburg.
Every single game, it's been just a privilege to watch some good baseball, and as you said, it seems like a competition throughout the season. Credit to Kevin Anderson and Shenandoah. It's only going to keep getting better, and we can't wait to see what happens as they go out to Cedar Rapids.
What a win. What a win here. Avery Neves, 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th inning. Lynchburg does add the insurance run. That was Pokerock singling. They bunted him to second. Gets to third on a pass ball / wild pitch. And then Gavin Collins sack fly there. Ben Jones, by the way, 3 for 4 in this game. Ben Jones is just a freshman. He has been nuts all season. He continues to impress. Had a hit yesterday to get the monkey off of his back. Lynchburg bats, I don't want to say they were cold because I prefer to give Jacob Bell the credit. He really did a nice job befuddling and bewildering Lynchburg offensively. But those Hornet bats, they came over from Foxfield. A late wake-up call for the bats, but they got it going. And we have had a blast here. I think we got to say so long. At some point, it's bittersweet for sure, Evan, because it's been a great season for the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network, not just baseball-wise, but so many thrilling moments in the Thrill City. But it looks like we got to call it a close on another season here. This is definitely an exclamation point. It's a great way to end it.
You talk about storybook endings. You don't always get them, but as you said, Lynchburg Sports, Old Dominion Athletic Conference, all around it's been a great year, and being able to cap it off here, we can't wait to see what happens in the future, and obviously for Lynchburg going on to Iowa in this World Series.
Yeah, Lynchburg's baseball team continues on. I just mean us at the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. There's so many people to thank. I'm not going to run them all down. Just know that a lot of people made this broadcast and this season possible, and we are so glad you got to enjoy it with us. We do hope you enjoyed it, baseball fans. It was a dream come true for us just to watch it, and those guys right there are living it. Lynchburg, they will continue to the D3 World Series. Cedar Rapids, Iowa is the next stop for the Lynchburg baseball team. They just won a Super Regional matchup against Shenandoah, and we will call it quits right there. Kyle Haney and Evan Gates saying so long. Hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend. Hope you'll keep watching, and we'll talk to you again soon, baseball fans.